Undercover Carson, secret agent. Operation Deathray, an assignment in Rio.
This seems to be the end of another long search. Perhaps my last. Across the valley, the mountainside is scorched. The once towering jungle, now a layer of ash. A monstrous weapon of war has at last shown its hand. And soon, perhaps, I too will be destroyed. Therefore, as I pause before the final assault, I wish to record how I came to find this weapon. And I trust that my Indian servant Angelo may deliver it into safe hands. It's a story that takes in many parts of South America. There are women, there is gaiety. There's also mystery, loneliness, terror. I've traveled from the pulsating night spots of the cities across the silent pampas, slept in the whispering ruins of ancient temples, hacked my way through shrieking jungle. Now, I've come to desolation. And I can guess at the fate of the airliners that have vanished so mysteriously in these parts. Anyway, this is Bruce Carson, piecing together the fragments of Operation Deathray. The more exotic part of Operation Deathray began in a night spot just off Rua de Ouvidor, one of Rio de Janeiro's most colorful streets. The Black Macaw, it's called, as South American as capsicums. I was there hoping to track down a former pilot in the German Air Force, the only man who could give me a start in my search. He was proving elusive, and the Black Macaw's wizened old Brazilian bartender was stonily ignoring all my attempts to strike up a conversation. But I had a way of dealing with such situations. I dragged a certain pipe from my pocket, filled it, then beckoned him over.
You desire something, senor?
Box of matches.
Matches?
You know, phosphoros. To light this thing.
Oh, of course, senor. Phosphorus.
He came out with a box. Must have left it somewhere.
Here, senor.
How much?
10 centavos.
Here. Keep change.
Muchas gracias, senor. Muchas gracias.
No ban on pipes, I trust.
Ban, senor?
Smoking these things. Allowed?
Oh, indeed, indeed.
Where you were looking at it, began to think it might not be the right thing for the Black Macaw. Ah, that's got it.
Permit me to explain, senor. The pipa, your pipa very much attracts my attention.
Oh, the pipe, eh?
Most rare, senor.
Moorish, old chap. Picked it up on a jaunt to Spain. Remarkable decorations on it, huh?
Indeed.
I collect the things, you know.
Collect, senor?
Just a hobby. Always carry 2 or 3 with me. You might be interested in this one, for instance.
Oh, senor.
It's a Bavarian pipe, you know. Like the carvings?
Exquisite, senor. But Bavarian?
German, that's near enough.
Oh, German,
I dare say you've seen plenty.
Oh, no, senor.
No? No, I thought perhaps this type of pipe would have been greatly favored by German officers. Imagined you'd have seen plenty in here during the war and since.
German officers, yes. Piper, no.
You still see 1 or 2 of these chappies here?
No longer, senor.
Oh. Why's that?
Well, times have changed.
Pity, you know.
I do not follow, senor.
It's like this. I was hoping I might bump into a former German Air Force pilot. I'm told he was a gay dog. Arrived in Rio around about 1945.
Young, senor. Very fair.
Could be.
If it is one, senor, he is no longer a client.
Oh, bad luck.
But perhaps I may be able to assist, senor.
Oh, I see.
First, I must attend to the customer at the other end of the bar. Then we will speak together again. Do not leave, senor.
You can count on that, old chap. Well, Carson, seems like the black macaw and your blonde bird have been keeping company.
Monsieur, please, your help. Do not desert me.
My dear, the affair's scarcely started.
Engage me in conversation, monsieur.
With pleasure. Draw up a stool.
Act as if you have been waiting for me.
I have. All my life.
Please. As if you have been waiting for someone well known to you.
Then let's put it this way. I've been waiting so long I was getting a bear's head drinking horses' nicks.
This is no joke. I am being pursued by a man.
Understandable.
Please, monsieur, look out of the corner of your eye.
Yes?
Not at me, at the man.
Oh, the Rio dandy, eh?
He follows me from the cabaret where I dance.
So you're a dancer, huh?
Oui, at El Rocco.
Must look in there sometime.
Monsieur, I beg of you. Only if you act as close friend will he go.
Close friend. Pleasure. Come on, let's dance. We must introduce ourselves. Her name was Fay, and she was part French, part Italian. A dark and ravishing creature. I saw no reason why I could not include a little gallantry in my assignment, so we danced. And the grim background to Operation Deathray was forgotten for the moment. But the grim part of the operation had begun just a week previously in London. On the Thames embankment, I had a rendezvous with Intelligence Major Alistair Aiken. Apart from the pigeons, we were alone.
You don't like pigeons?
I loathe them.
But, old man, I understood that among your various quaint hobbies you included bird watching.
Not pigeons, Aiken.
Strangely enough, I have a warm regard for them.
But why, for heaven's sake?
Remember that carrier that went AWL in the last war? Landed a vital message right in our laps.
I have some faint recollection. But, Aiken, what's all this about?
Well, Carson, if you'll be good enough to get that murderous-looking pipe out of my face...
Murderous is the word. Picked it up on a jaunt to Afghanistan, you know.
Now, steady. I don't want another lecture about your beloved pipes.
Actually, old chap, I was going to speak about weapons. Another of my loves, if you remember.
I certainly do remember. But what I have to tell you is also about a weapon. Something really out of the ordinary.
You don't say.
You've been reading the papers lately?
Naturally.
I mean, imaginatively. Looking for the story behind the printed story.
Can't say I have. But, go on, what's all this about?
You may have read a small paragraph about a former German Air Force steward returning home to his quiet and peaceful village.
Seems to ring a bell.
He had some story about getting out of Europe by air just before World War II packed up and reaching South America.
Oh, yes. A load of scientists on board or something. Struck me as just another fantastic yarn.
We managed to have it presented that way.
Oh, you mean there's something in it?
A great deal to it.
I'm all ears.
It was an amphibious plane, loaded to the roof with extra petrol. As well as the crew, it carried some 8 scientists who'd been working more or less independently on a secret project. They had a hellish flight.
I don't wonder.
They made the coast of Brazil, but crashed in the jungle somewhere north of Rio. 2 members of the crew, the pilot and the steward, survived.
What about the scientists?
2 were killed, leaving 6 to join the march south to Rio. They contacted friends there and learned that the war was over. The 6 scientists had been working under strict supervision, and so they jumped at the opportunity of scattering. We've no idea where they are now.
I see.
And nor has this steward. He was a pretty simple fellow and seemed to have very little contact with the scientists. However, with the pilot, it was a different matter. He took a chance and plunged into the high life of Rio.
What did he do for cash?
He had plenty. A great deal, apparently, because he married a very attractive Brazilian fashion model.
And how attractive they can be, old chap.
Yes, and how fickle, too.
How's that?
As soon as the money petered out, she left him.
Ah.
From what we could gather from this steward fellow, the pilot is more or less a destitute.
In Rio?
There or thereabouts. Anyway, Carson, you're probably starting to see where I'm heading. That pilot seems to be our only chance of tracking down those 6 scientists.
And, why track them down?
We want the full dope on this secret project. From captured documents, we had suspicions, but we could never get anything concrete.
So Carson packs his bags again.
That's the general idea. You're the man for it, you know. As an executive of a meat importing firm, there's plenty for you to do legitimately in South America. It's no easy assignment, Carson. It's almost certain that the agents of other powers will be on the job.
Nothing very unusual about that.
Yeah, perhaps not. But this time the prize is unusually big.
Precisely what?
As far as we can make out, a death ray.
A death ray? Some weapon, all right. The mad dream of twisted minds for generations. Matter of fact, I could use one right now.
Why, what do you mean?
See that Thames rat poking its head through the drain?
Oh, yes. Hey, what the blazes are you doing with that pipe?
Watch. Missed it.
Great Scott, that pipe!
Has a spring arrow concealed in the heavy false stem.
A spring arrow? And you've been smoking the darn thing and pointing it into my face.
You said yourself it was murderous.
Murderous, all right. Oh, but what a crazy coot you are.
Naturally. Otherwise, I wouldn't be jumping at this assignment. Lovely place, Rio. Lovely people. Lovely people, lovely women. I danced this fay around the tiny, dimly lit floor, forgetting for the moment that the wizened old bartender probably had the vital information I was after. Then suddenly the band stopped playing. There was a commotion around the bar.
Monsieur Carson, why is all this?
That's what I'm going to find out.
Look, Le Garçon.
Yes, the bartender.
He has collapsed, perhaps.
Collapsed. With that knife in his back, he's dead.
Indeed, senorita, the knife was thrown from the door. The murderer vanished into the night.
So there it was. I'd met a woman, soft, alluring, apparently a little scatterbrained. Meanwhile, my first worthwhile contact had met his end. The agents of other powers were on the job, all right. Operation Deathray had begun with death.
Undercover Carson, secret agent. Operation Deathray, an assignment in Rio.
However you may judge French-Italian dancer Fay Corelli, in the end, she's not the type of woman easily dismissed from the mind. Perhaps that's why I've gone a little ahead of myself in relating what led me to find the grim evidence that this death ray was indeed a real thing. 2 days after I accepted this assignment from the British intelligence, I landed by constellation at Rio's Galeo Field. But no cloak and dagger stuff for me. I've always made a point of being limelighted, and so disarming the critics. Thus, word was sent ahead, the reporters were waiting, and the newspapers duly published stories about the arrival of Senor Bruce Carson. He was a high executive of a British meat importing firm, an ardent bird watcher, and enthusiastic collector of ancient weapons and novelty pipes. I read these accounts in the palatial Copacabana apartment of Sir Giles Davenport, a long-time resident in these parts, and also a keen bird watcher, in more ways than one.
Yes, Carson. I get the point. With all that guff about you and those photographs, no one would suspect you of being here on an undercover assignment.
As I said, Sir Giles, I found it pays off to be conspicuous.
Yes, well, it's your neck, old fella. But what the blazes is that? That thing you are sucking in this photograph?
Oh, a pipe.
Yes, I guess that. But, man, it's almost a weapon.
Well, actually, Sir Giles, that's precisely what it is.
A weapon?
So, let me show it to you.
I say, how many of these things do you carry around?
Oh, I brought 24 odd with me. Generally have 5 or 6 on my person.
Remarkable.
A Moorish pipe, this.
Oh, yes. Thought I recognized the style of the inlay.
You can unscrew the bottom of the bowl.
Eh?
Yeah, like so.
Oh, amazing.
And here, you see, capsules.
Capsules? What for?
Oh, handy, you know. Might want to send someone off to bye-bye in a hurry.
Oh, you mean sleeping draughts?
Well, knockout drops.
Oh.
Now, this other pipe, for instance, is from Afghanistan.
It could have caused a holy war by the look of it.
Very handy in a war, Sir Giles. False stem here, fitted with spring mechanism and a very useful steel arrow.
Then put it away, man. Put it away before anything happens. I thought you didn't go in for the cloak and dagger stuff.
Well, not in the accepted sense of the word. Well, anyway, down to brass tacks.
By Jove, yes. I feel on much safer ground, much safer.
You know now why I'm here.
Yes, to track down 6 scientists. Yes, some task, old fellow. A big place, this. Brazil alone, larger than the USA.
They must be located before any other power gets at them. If there is such a thing as a death ray, and if between them these 6 scientists can piece it together, our people must have it first.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a scratch start, Sir Giles. But we believe the German pilot who flew out these scientists in 45 can at least provide the names.
I should imagine so. Even where they've nipped off to.
That's what I'm hoping.
What about the pilot's name?
Carl Schmidt.
Carl Schmidt?
Yes, understand what you mean. Bad as Bill Jones.
Exactly. Must be scores of Carl Schmidts in Rio alone. Any other details? Plumage, habits, and so on?
Plumage, blonde. Habits, nocturnal.
Nocturnal?
Led a gay life. Soulmate of mine, perhaps.
Oh, yes, I see.
Married a Brazilian fashion model, but when his money petered out, she dumped him.
These women, you know.
Yeah, we're told now that he's more or less destitute. May not be in Rio itself.
Quite a number of fellows like that roaming about these parts, Carson.
So I'm informed.
However, that's enough for me to start with. I'll contact you. If I can get a line on him, his nesting habits, you know, then I'll give you a string of places to watch.
Sir Giles contacted me next day. He had a sizable string of night spots where our bird was accustomed to roost. It was at the Black Macaw that I made my first contact and lost him. It was at the same spot that I met Fay Corelli and found her left on my hands.
Oh, Monsieur Carson, you will excuse me for being so upset, but I am not accustomed to murder.
Understood, my dear. Another drop of champagne?
Well, seeing that I do not have to appear again tonight at the cabaret, oui.
Fine.
When I dance, I never drink.
Oh, other way round with me, eh? But here's looking at you.
Here is, what?
Good luck.
Oh, oui. Good luck. Monsieur Carson?
Bruce, if you don't mind.
Well, Monsieur Bruce, why would anyone want to throw a knife and kill that poor aged man behind the bar?
Who knows?
He was so harmless and so very old.
Age brings wisdom, they say. Perhaps he knew too much.
Knew too much? About what?
Look here. How about me asking some questions for a change?
Of course.
What made you come running into the Black Macaw tonight?
I was being pursued by a horrible man in what you call loud dress. You saw him for yourself.
True enough.
No doubt he saw me dancing at El Rocco and, I often have the same trouble.
Well, imagine that.
Then you understand?
Just wondering. But why pick on the Black Macaw?
Because it is close to El Rocco.
Oh, of course.
And because I think the men on the music stand who are in the same business will protect me, then I see you.
Fate.
Perhaps it was.
Anyway, when am I going to see you dance?
Tomorrow night. If you will come.
Try keeping me away. Well, now let's toss this off. I'll see you home. It wasn't till an hour later, when I was heading back to my apartment in a taxi with a suicidal Brazilian driver at the wheel, that I began to think seriously about the night. That old bartender had hinted he could help me trace the German pilot. 10 minutes later, he was dead. That knife was meant for me, perhaps. Well, my turn was to come. The next night, I booked a table at El Rocco. Fay Corelli danced. And how she danced. As her act came to an end, I became aware of a different type of beauty alongside me. Cool, aloof, blue-eyed, flaxen-haired.
Mr. Bruce Carson.
The same?
You will excuse me approaching you in this manner, but I recognized you by the pipe.
Oh, yes, Tyrolese.
Most becoming.
Quite harmless, actually. But do sit down.
Thank you. It will only be for a moment.
Bright spot.
A little too bright.
Drink?
No, if you don't mind. This is a matter of business.
Business?
Oh, nothing to do with your interest in the beef and the mutton, Mr. Carson. It is in relation to your private interests.
My, private interest?
The collecting of arms and ancient weapons.
Oh.
I conduct a shop for antiques in Rue de Ouvidor.
Oh, know the street well.
Here is my card with the address.
Thanks.
I have been approached by a party to handle, on their behalf, the sale of a rare crossbow.
That a fact, eh?
Of 16th century Spanish origin.
Well, I'd like to look it over.
You'll be there in the morning.
I don't see why not.
Would 11 o'clock suit you?
Perfectly.
11 o'clock, then. Now I will leave you, Mr. Carson. I see that someone is coming to join you. Goodbye for the present.
Many thanks, Miss, Faye, a divine performance. Now I'm utterly struck on you.
Who was that?
Oh, the blonde?
Oui.
Well, let's see the card. Helena.
Helena.
Old wares and the address. That's all it says.
I do not like her.
No?
She is pale and cold.
Perhaps.
She's not warm like me. What does she want?
She's got a crossbow she thinks I might be interested in buying.
And are you?
Most. I'm looking it over in the morning. Meanwhile, let's have a toast to that superb dancing of yours.
Mr. Carson, you are late a little.
Oh, it's this Rio traffic. Wide streets, drivers all madmen. I'm sorry, Miss...
The crossbow you will find in this large box.
Oh, what's it doing in that, for heaven's sake?
It was delivered to me as you see it by the party in question.
Odd?
When one deals in antiques, Mr. Carson, nothing is odd.
Possibly not.
I left the opening to you.
Why?
It is more the task for a man, surely.
Very well.
What are you doing?
Turning the box on its side.
But would it not be easier to open it?
I prefer the safer. Now, let's see.
Mr. Carson, would you be good enough to explain?
You'll soon get your explanation if you don't already know. Now, get behind me.
I beg your pardon.
If you have any sense, you'll... Fine, that's the idea. Out of harm's way.
I do not understand what this is all about.
Watch. First, we undo this clasp. So. Now to raise the lid. Gently.
Oh, you fool! That vase is shattered.
Better a vase than my chest. Or don't you think so, Miss Helena?
What is all this?
Look on the wall behind the vase. An arrow, quivering still. And that arrow was obviously arranged for yours truly. I'd say a quick explanation would be the order of the day. So there it is. In a few days, I'd met 2 women and almost my own end. This blonde Helena had an explanation to make, all right. But it was more obvious than ever that I had some pretty ruthless competition in Operation Deathray.
Undercover Carson, secret agent. Operation Deathray, assignment in Rio.
Operation Deathray certainly got off to a flying start. But my mind was far, far away from any assignment that night at El Rocco Cabaret. Who wouldn't be, watching Faye Corelli throwing those lovely legs around as only a dancer who's part French, part Italian, and part pure siren can? Then there was the tall Nordic blonde. She came up to my table. She'd read in the newspaper that I was an ardent bird watcher, a collector of ancient weapons and novelty pipes. She had a 16th century crossbow. Was I interested? Yes. So she gave me her card. Helena, Old Wares. It was around 11 next morning when I called at her shop in Rua de Uvidor. The crossbow was in a box. Odd, I thought. I was very careful lifting the lid. Just as well. Next thing, a spring snaps, there's a big vase shattered, an ugly arrow quivering on the wall, and the blonde Helena flushed with anger.
Mr. Carson, you do not appear to realize that beautiful vase. It was valued at over 2,000 cruzeros.
Pity.
All you say is pity?
So, better the vase than yon arrow disturbing the weave back and front of this suit I'm wearing, if you follow what I mean, Miss Helena.
You will call me Miss Jansen, if you please.
Please yourself. But quite a surprise packet you presented me with.
I know nothing about that.
Oh, tut, tut.
I will thank you not to question my word, Mr. Carson.
A trifle hard not to. But let's tug this arrow out of the wall. That's got it. 16th century vintage, all right. Though the sharpening on the barb, undoubtedly 20th century, contemporary. As I said, quite a surprise packet.
And as I said, Mr. Carson, I know nothing about it.
Come, you must know something. How'd you come by this box of tricks?
I was merely acting as an agent.
Who for?
A woman.
Description?
I'm afraid I cannot oblige. The whole matter was arranged over the phone.
A voice. What about that?
Since we're to be so exasperatingly abrupt. Brazilian. Cultured.
That you're only dealing with her?
Yes. The box was to be delivered by carrier. A truck arrived shortly afterwards. 2 men carried the box inside. They put it down where I asked them.
Very gently, no doubt.
I don't remember.
The men, what they look like?
Just workmen. I'd never recognize them again.
Of course, you didn't open the box.
I did not.
Ask why?
Because, Mr. Carson, the woman expressly asked that the box should remain untouched and unopened until you arrived. She wanted that privilege to be left to you with your strong, experienced hands.
Strong, anyway. What about her address?
She didn't leave one.
No? Odd, don't you think?
She explained she was acting on behalf of someone else. Someone who thought you would be interested in adding the crossbow to your collection. She left his address. I have it upstairs on my desk pad.
Must get that. But this other person, a man, you say?
Yes. The woman said that if by any chance you should happen to ask who he was...
If? Go on.
I was to say that he was formerly an aviator.
Aviator?
And that he'd served with the Air Forces of Germany.
So...
I must say, Mr. Carson, that now that I have overcome my resentment of your masterful attitude, I'm rather intrigued.
Intrigued, Miss Jansen? How?
Why should you be selected out as a target like this?
Business rival, perhaps?
But you're with a British meat importing firm.
What difference does that make? Ask you?
It's a well-ordered industry, rarely associated with anything quite so sinister.
Well, then, perhaps someone's trying to test my knowledge of ancient weapons, or perhaps someone was merely hoping to shoot the pipe out of my mouth, or perhaps even the birds don't want me watching their habits, so they got together like this to warn me off.
Really, Mr. Carson, there's one thing I loathe a man being, and that is facetious.
Facetious, eh? Oh, well.
The point is, are you or are you not interested in buying this crossbow? The price asked is 800 cruzeros. That, of course, includes my commission.
800? That's around £16 sterling. Fair price, very fair. Take check?
Certainly.
Good. But while I'm writing it, that address.
Oh, yes, Mr. Carson. I'll slip straight upstairs and... Oh, excuse me a moment. Can I help you, madame?
No, thank you.
Then...
It is Monsieur Carson I wish to...
Faye!
Surprise.
Jove, yes. Pleasant surprise, this. But what brought you here?
I was being pursued.
You were?
If you'll pardon me, Mr. Carson, I'll get that address for you.
Oh, yes, thank you. Now for check.
Besides, I am not happy when I think of you with that one. I do not trust her. She is not open like I am. I am worried for you.
Ah, so you came to protect me.
In a way. But most of all, I come for you to protect me.
Of course. You were being pursued.
By a man in low dress.
Dandies go for you, it seems. 600.
When you are a young girl, you think it is all soap and bubbles to have a good shape and pretty face. But what happened? All the time you are being pestered by the men. Oh, I am so weary of it.
Seems I'm not considered any threat.
Oh, you are an Englishman. You have the, what do you call, sense of balance.
Been known to overbalance, though.
If that happen, I will look after you.
Must try.
Here is the sheet from the desk pad, Mr. Carson. The address is on it.
Oh, thanks. What?
San Salvador Avenue. Not far out.
I intend going there right away. Looking over the place, at least. May I leave the deadly weapon here, meanwhile?
If you wish. And should anything further of interest turn up, shall I contact you?
Do.
Monsieur Bruce, we go.
Right away.
Mademoiselle Corelli, is it not?
What of it?
Forgive me for not recognizing you sooner, but clothes do make such a difference.
Oh,
I saw your dancing routine last night at El Rocco. I rather enjoyed it.
it is my purpose to entertain. Is it not, Monsieur Bruce?
Seems so. Yes. But what am I going to do with you, Fay?
You are taking me with you, of course, silly one. Come along.
I told Fay about the prearranged archery in the antique shop. Couldn't put her off. First she was aghast. Then she blamed Helena Jansen and threatened to do something to her that wouldn't exactly fit into her dancing act. But she forgot all about it once the taxi stopped outside the address Helena had given me. Joke?
It is so funny.
Mind letting a fellow in on it?
This place where we stop.
Imposing enough.
It is a hospital.
Hospital? Maybe they've started a new stunt for recruiting patients then.
But a maternity hospital.
Oh.
So perhaps the little baby sent you the crossbow?
Wish it was. Yeah, but the address is obviously a blind. Let's forget the whole thing.
Oh, but who sent you the crossbow?
Say Father Christmas. Or, say Kris Kringle. Anyway, gorgeous, where do I drop you?
I adore the gorgeous. But the drop, oh.
City somewhere?
No, I'll stay with you.
But, Fay,
I have all the time free until I go to El Rocco to dance. And, Monsieur Bruce, last night, when you drive me to my place, you promised me something.
Fact?
Oui? How awful you forget. You tell me all about the beautiful pipes you bring with you.
Oh, yes, pipes. Not etchings, my dear. Well, we'll take a quick look at them, then lunch. How about that?
Adore it.
Right. Driver.
Senor.
El Presidente Hotel.
Si, senor.
Know it?
Si, senor.
We'll go to it. Now, Fay. This here.
What is it? Oh, a pipe?
So, one at least I can show you before we reach my suite.
It is divine. The colors, they are so glossy and bright.
Swiss.
Oh, from Switzerland?
So, unusual pipe, this.
Most unusual.
I'll show you why, though. There's a little catch underneath the bowl. Listen.
A musical box? A musical box underneath a pipe?
Like it?
Oh, so beautiful.
Well, this is just one of the pipes with the musical box. Got a better one. Wait till we reach my suite at El Presidente. Here we are. Ample time to see the pipes, drink, then lunch. This looks like the key. Yes.
Oh, such a lovely suite.
In you go. Carpet's made to walk on.
Oh, it is like a dream. Oh,
Fay.
look, the drawers, the bags,
Why, so...
all emptied out. Oh, Monsieur Bruce, everything in great upset.
Visitors, seems.
Visitors?
Burglars.
Oh, then you must...
And don't touch the phone.
I sent for the gendarme.
Don't want them. Sorry. I'm afraid the luncheon must be postponed, Fay.
Oh.
I must check through things, then report the matter in person to the company. This is something I wasn't expecting. nothing missing, only Fay, as I went as quickly as possible to the Copacabana apartment of Sir Giles Davenport. We both had an interest in bird watching, and this was really something for the fanciers. No one answered. I don't like waiting in vestibules. I have a certain pipe that is readily converted into a skeleton key. There seemed to be no one around, so I set to work. Easy does it. Just another little twist.
You are perhaps aware of something pressing into your back, senor?
I seem to be feeling something.
Then we will make certain. So, it is as sharp as it feels, senor, and be warned that it is held in the hand of one who comes from a long line of peons.
Oh, that a fact,
Indeed, senor. And it is a fact also that but 2 generations ago, my ancestors were complete savages. They killed for the delight of it, senor. Often I myself have such yearnings.
Interesting.
We both find it interesting, senor. I am interested in you most. You will do as I say, or in a brief moment I will use this knife as my ancestors would already have done. You will do as I say.
I'd dodged an arrow in the chest because I'd been on the alert. Now I had a knife pressing in my back because I'd been too casual. Operation Deathray looked like coming to a sudden end.
Undercover Carson, secret agent. Operation Deathray, assignment in Rio.
There were other agents on the job, all right. First, when I was in that antique shop with blonde Helena Jansen, I just missed collecting a deadly arrow from an ancient crossbow. Next, when I was with French-Italian dancer Fay Corelli, my hotel suite was ransacked. Nothing missing, but someone was anxious. Anxious, no doubt, that I should not locate that German flyer who could give me the names of the 6 scientists, and so the secret of the death ray. I felt it was time for another chat with my Rio contact, Sir Giles Davenport. No one answered at his Copacabana apartment. I decided to let myself in, and was in the course of doing so when I felt something nudging at my spine and heard a voice growling in my ear.
Is it clear to you then, senor, what I now grasp in my hand?
Expect so. How long, might I ask, is the blade?
Senor, were I to use it up until its hilt, then for a brief moment, perhaps, you would be able to observe the splendid sharpness of its point.
Practically a rapier. What can I do for you?
As I have warned you, senor, you will do as I say. I'm curious to know what manner of instrument you are employing for the purpose of opening that door.
Nothing at all.
You grasp some small object in your hand.
That? Only a pipe.
A pipe? You will hand it to me.
Of course. There you are.
Well, this is indeed a strange one.
Rather novel. Picked it up in England.
The stem is most unusual, senor.
It is, then.
You are employing this perhaps to force your way into the apartment?
Using a pipe to force my way in? Really, old chap, I ask you.
Who might you be, senor?
Name's Carson. Bruce Carson.
And here in Rio de Janeiro, what is your mission?
Mission? Scarcely that. Merely here as representative of British meat importing firm. Give you my card.
Oh, no, senor. Permit me to remind you what I grasp in my hand.
Rather pointed, must say.
Do not reach toward the pocket, senor. That is a ruse of which I'm well aware. It is not always with a card that one is presented.
Seem to be well up in these things. You haven't a card yourself by any chance?
Senor, you have already been presented with mine.
I see what you mean.
Carson,
Oh, Sir Giles.
Upon my soul, what is going on here?
I was wondering myself.
Angelo.
Excellency, this man I discovered attempting to break into the apartment while you were out taking your walk.
Well, if he wants to break in, he's perfectly at liberty to do so. Unorthodox, but nevertheless...
Excellency, the Signor is known to you?
He certainly is. A fellow bird watcher all the way from England. Come here to track down some creatures of strange plumage. Now, get that knife out of sight. Ghastly.
Yes, Excellency, at once.
You know this fellow, Sir Giles?
I should think so, Carson. My servant, Angelo. Been with me these many years. Charming fellow, really.
I pray, Senor, there will come a time when I'm able to make amends for the great insult.
Just as well Angelo didn't suddenly grow savage like his Indian ancestors of 2 generations removed. That would have meant never knowing him. And later, I was to know him so very well, to value him for his loyalty and courage, stand in wonder of him for his strange mixture of violence and gentleness. There was a deeply apologetic air about him as he set the drinks down in front of us.
Will that be all, Excellency?
Thank you, Angelo. I'll call if there's anything further. I'll call.
As you say, Excellency. And if there is any service I may do, Signor Carson, permit it that I may hasten to oblige.
The time will come, Angelo.
Trust so, Excellency. I trust so.
Well, Carson, he'll get over his upset. I've tried to break him of the Excellency, but he will have it that I come from the very top deck of British nobility. However, the drinks. Soda or water?
Water, Sir Giles.
Say when.
Oh, thanks. Yes, sir?
Yes, I'll take this one straight. Good luck, Carson.
Good luck, sir. I'll need it.
Pleasant. But now to brass tacks. What's been happening? When last I saw you here, you were off to look over the various night spots where our blonde bird, the flyer, might be found.
Well, I started with the black macaw.
The black macaw?
Seemed an appropriate start for a bird watcher.
Hold steady, Jiff Carson. No doubt I gave you that name on the list, but it seems I've heard it elsewhere recently.
You have? In this morning's papers?
Oh, of course. The bartender knifed or something.
Knifed very skillfully, Sir Giles. I was there at the time.
You don't say.
Strange little fellow. Wizened, rather sour-looking. I wanted to engage him in conversation. Seemed a hard nut to crack. But then the pipes worked the trick again.
How do you mean, Carson?
Oh, dragged out a Moorish pipe, and then a Bavarian one. Eyes lit up. Wanted to know all about them. Anyway, got talking. He reckoned he could tell me something about a flyer, blonde, formerly with the German Air Force. Told me to wait. Meanwhile, a young woman...
accosted you?
No. A fellow, dandified type, annoying her. She appealed to me for protection. No reason to refuse. We danced, introduced ourselves. Fake-Corelli, French-Italian. Ravishing. Dancer at El Rocco. Anyway, time we got back to the bar, the little Brazilian was dead.
It seems, Carson, that we've got some pretty ruthless opposition on the job.
On the job's right, sir. Last night I went to El Rocco. One of the spots on your list.
That's right.
At the same time, I thought I might see what sort of a dancer Mademoiselle Corelli really is. Superb, Sir Giles. But when she was dancing, a rather tall, rather cool-looking young woman came over to me.
What is it about you, Carson?
Pipes, Sir Giles.
Yes, I must take up that hobby. But go on.
And she explained she was a dealer in antiques, with a shop in Rua de Uvidor. Helena Jensen.
Yes, I believe I know the place.
And she said there was a 16th century crossbow there. Might interest me. Well, sir, I went there at 11 this morning to inspect the crossbow. It was in a box, which I was supposed to open. Seemed odd. I turned it on side, like so. Opened it gently. Snap of a spring, shattering of a vase. There was an arrow quivering in the wall.
Dastardly.
I rather thought so at the time.
But why hadn't this woman opened the box herself?
I wasted no time asking that same question, sir. She said that she was acting on behalf of another person, and that the opening must be left to me.
Ah, I see.
And if, by any chance, I happened to ask who he was, I was to be told that he was formerly an aviator, and that he'd served with the Air Forces of Germany.
Carson, does this mean the flyer's trying to get at us?
I think not. You see, Sir Giles, Helena Jensen gave me an address. It was supposed to be the flyer's, or that of someone associated with him. Turned out to be a blind.
Someone's idea of a joke, eh?
Sir. But that's not all of it.
No?
Back at the hotel, I found my suite upside down.
How do you mean?
Uninvited callers.
Ah, I see. Anything missing?
No, nothing. Pipes, etc., all intact. Of course, there were no clues there for anyone to find.
Naturally, old man. But this all ties in. Whoever set the crossbow trap may have hastened to examine your effects before the police arrived, if you follow what I mean.
Quite. On the other hand, we may have the agents of two separate powers working against us.
Prize is big enough to attract half a dozen powers, old man.
Exactly. Anyway, Sir Giles, that brings me up to my arrival here. No one home, so I thought I'd let myself in and wait. Didn't bargain for your Angelo.
You should have met him a couple of days back, but at that time I had him working out in his unobtrusive way. He's come to light with some very valuable information. It'll save you the fag of doing all those night spots.
Well, hardly fag so far, sir. Do go on.
You recall that this flyer married shortly after he arrived here?
Oh, yes. Local fashion model. Something exquisite.
Well, you'll be the judge of that.
Yeah? How so, sir?
Angelo's managed to locate the apartment building where she's living at present.
Oh, he has, but yes.
Quite close. Handy, too. In the fashion world, she was known as Paquita. She still has her maiden name on the box of the apartment. Senorita Paquita Rifio.
And the name of the apartment building?
Fiesta, of all names. Very big place. Anyway, Carson, I'll let you know how to get there, and the rest will be up to you.
I found the building easily enough. Senorita Paquita Rifio, on the box. I took the elevator to the 8th, walked along to 809, her apartment. I stopped, and my heart nearly stopped at what I heard.
No!
Hello?
Silenzio!
Well, this calls for quick action. The door. What are you trying to do to that young woman? Strangle her?
Who?
I happen to be someone who has Senorita's interests very much at heart. That's better. Keep your hands to yourself. And if you'll be so good as to stand to one side while I telephone the police.
Police? Guardia Civil?
So.
Oh, no.
Wait.
Adios, senor. Adios.
Yeah, gone. Can't be helped.
Thank you, Senor. Thank you.
No trouble. Just passing. Heard rumpus. Who was he?
To me, Senor, he is entirely strange. There is a knock upon the door. Then into here he forces his way. He asks me things for which I do not have the answer.
Asks you what thing, Senorita?
Oh, names.
Names?
It is all to do with my former husband.
So?
But I cannot tell him. He will not believe me. He then attempts to force me, Senor. Oh, I thought he would kill me.
Feeling better now?
Oh, so much. Oh.
Anything wrong?
Oh, it is me, Senor. I am all wrong. Look at me in the mirror. My hair, my clothes.
Rather charming, I thought.
Oh, however can you say that? I must attend to myself. Pardon me, Senor. I go for a few minutes to the bedroom.
Well, take your time, dear. When you get back, we'll have a little chat, eh?
Si, Senor. Then I must thank you properly.
Hello?
I fear it will not close properly. The catch has been broken.
Of course.
But you will realize from what I hold in my hand that I desire you to raise your hands, Mr. Carson.
Well?
I am in a position to insist.
Heck. Court, seems.
I fear so, Mr. Carson. This is a situation somewhat unusual for a man whose hobby is bird watching. Or is it?
So, there it was. I had a pretty fair idea what the Spanish hooligan was after. What about this fellow with the gun? There was opposition in Operation Deathray, all right. And it seemed I was face to face with it.
Undercover Carson, secret agent. Operation Deathray, assignment in Rio.
Yes, if Senorita Paquita Rifio was any example, these Rio fashion models were certainly stunners. The oval face, the olive skin, the big dark eyes, enough to leave anyone breathless. Of course, the young lady was a little breathless herself after I used the shoulder as a latchkey and barged into her apartment. Arrived just in time to prevent a local tough from forcing some information out of her. The Brazilian bowed out. I let him go. It was the information I was after. The whereabouts of the Senorita's former husband, the wartime German flyer. First, she excused herself, saying she wanted to fix the mussed hair, etc. So I was left there, thinking that at last I was on the trail of those 6 scientists, and so the deadly secret. Then I found myself looking into a stern, jowled face and a rather neat little luger.
I feel certain you appreciate the situation, Mr. Carson. You will kindly raise your hands.
Unaccustomed to such exercise, you know.
We are all caught out sometimes. Nevertheless, I insist.
No alternative, seems. How's that look?
That is better.
Rather thought it'd make me look as though playing basketball.
You number basketball among your hobbies also, perhaps?
So far, not. What with pipes, old weapons, bird watching, seem to have hands full.
Ah, yes. Bird watching. An unusual place to come in order to watch a bird, think you not? I am curious to know what you are doing here.
Really, old chap, before we discuss such personal matters, don't you think we might introduce ourselves?
I have no need to be introduced to you, Mr. Carson.
Senor, your hands. Why? Eric!
A precaution, Paquita.
What need is there for precaution? Put away that nasty little gun.
You know who this man is, then?
I know that he is Inglese and most gracious, and that I am very much in debt to him. Put it away, Eric. That is much better. And you, Senor, no more of that absurd-looking hands up.
Well, pleasure to oblige.
Paquita, I ask you again. You know who this man is?
I have told you what I know, Eric.
Then I will tell you more. This is Mr. Bruce Carson. Does that mean anything to you?
After this, it always will.
He is the fellow whose name and picture were splashed all over the front of the newspapers several evenings ago.
You see, of course, I was so fascinated. Senor Carson, you cannot imagine with what interest and delight I read about you. The pipes and the weapons and the birds. You are the man?
It's me, I'm afraid.
Ah, most intriguing.
Intriguing, indeed. But what brings Mr. Carson to this apartment? Why is the lock on the door hanging by a splinter of wood?
Eric, the most frightening thing happened to me. I am expecting you, because you tell me you would arrive about this time. There is a knock upon the door. I answer, thinking it is you. But the moment I open...
This fellow pushes his way in?
No. A most frightening person. He had certain demands to make of me.
Demands?
No, it was all to do with Carl.
Ah, him again.
Who might Carl be?
My former husband, Senor.
Yeah, and we do not care to discuss the matter with you, Mr. Carson. It is painful enough to us alone.
I'm a good listener, you know.
Paquita, what happened then?
This terrible man took hold of my throat. He said he must have the name of some scientist who flew out to South America with Carl.
I see.
A pity I interrupted then, eh?
I do not think so, Senor. You broke through the door at the very right moment.
What I mean was, if you'd told the fellow the names, then he'd gone off happy. As it was...
But I do not know the names.
Oh. Sad.
Paquita, I am asking you for a full account of what happened. This intruder had hold of you by the throat, and you were protesting that you knew nothing. And then the door bursts open, and in comes the gallant Mr. Carson.
The very gallant Mr. Carson.
Oh, charmed.
And how, might I inquire, did he know the precise moment at which to intervene?
That I cannot answer.
Allow me.
Of course, Mr. Carson, you have much yet to explain.
I heard the Senorita's cries for help. It so happened that I was in the building.
Yes, that is what I meant. You have much yet to explain.
I'd been up on the 10th floor.
And for what reason, might I ask?
Calling upon an English gentleman up there. Rolls. Acquainted with him, no doubt.
This is a very large apartment building. I am only a visitor. I fear I am not acquainted.
Eric, I assure you, there is a gentleman of that name somewhere above.
Very good. But what brought you to the 8th floor, Mr. Carson?
Walking down.
Walking? When there are the elevators?
Feeling like a spot of exercise. Spent half my time here in lifts and taxis.
And so, At the very time you reach this floor, you hear Senorita Rufio's cries for help.
Exactly.
And it was most fortunate for me. I am most grateful.
Enough, Paquita. You do not have to build up a mountain of gratitude for him.
Yeah, old chap, scarcely the way to talk to a lady.
I happen to be the employer of the lady.
Fact, eh?
She is one of the models who works for me, exclusively. And it will not please me if she has anything further to do with you, Mr. Carson.
Ask why?
I do not care for you.
Oh, that all you've got against me?
So far, it is.
Relief?
I beg your pardon?
Oh, nothing.
There's just one other thing I would like to know. Then you may depart, Mr. Carson. What became of the man who was in here molesting Senorita Rufio?
Oh, made quite an exit, old chap. Too fast to detain. But why try?
There was no connection between him and yourself, Mr. Carson?
Perish the thought. Why the blazes would I be wanting to force anything out of the Senorita? Apart from sweet nothings, I mean.
Would that take force, Senor?
Oh, makes more interesting. So they say.
That will be enough, Mr. Carson. I am not altogether satisfied with you, but you may go. I will escort you to the door.
It seemed a hot spot for a while, that apartment. Thinking things over, I wasn't altogether satisfied with our friend Eric. That business about visiting a Britisher 2 floors up was a very necessary piece of quick thinking. But I always study the post boxes outside first. Anyway, I returned to my suite at El Presidente. Glorious as she was, the Senorita had not lived up to expectations. I still had to track that blonde flyer. Pondering on it when the phone rang. Hold steady, Carson coming. Carson.
Oh.
Say again.
I was afraid I would miss you. Of course you know this is.
I say, not...
Si, Paquita.
This is delightful. But why?
For several reasons, Senor Carson. I decided to thank you in the proper way for what you did for me. But that Seidel had to arrive.
Seidel?
Eric, you know.
Him, of course.
Also, there is another matter. I think perhaps it will be of interest to you.
And that?
It would be unwise for me to mention it under these conditions, Senor Carson.
Phone. Yeah, see what you mean.
I would like to speak to you in private.
Meet you someplace?
That would be unwise also.
How so?
I am a fashion model, Senor. I'm well known in this city.
Of course. Well,
Would it not be permissible for me to come up to your suite at El Presidente?
I suppose so. But, how come you know I'm here?
That was simple. I get the newspaper with the story of your arrival in Rio. It says there that you go to a suite at El Presidente.
That's fact. Well, why not? When?
Within an hour, Senor. Could you wait that long?
Wait a lifetime, dear. Come straight up, press the buzzer. Meanwhile, I'll rustle up a cocktail. Interesting switch, I thought. As I toyed with the gin, the vermouth, and some of that hair-raising South American rum, fell to pondering again. Interesting assignment, this. My 3rd day in Rio, and fate had already generously seen to it that I'd crossed paths with 3 rare creatures. Paquita, Helena, and Fay Corelli. Operation Deathray was having its lighter moments. Howsoever, there was quite a problem coming up. Hello, already? Hurry, seems. Right with you.
Monsieur Bruce.
Fay.
Oui, it is me. It is such a relief to find you back here. Close the door.
Oh, Fay,
Go on, silly. Close it up. Oh, why you stand there with that funny look on your face? You have never seen a woman before? Oh.
Never one quite the same as you, my dear. But, all right. There.
Oh, I see you have made the place all tidy since the volcano.
Volcano?
The upheaval, when a stranger comes in and goes through everything.
Oh, that. Oh, well, didn't take much time. But, Fay, what are you doing here at this time of day?
I don't start to dance at El Rocco until much later. I have time going it away. Besides, you know what happens?
No.
I am being pursued.
Oh?
By a man.
Same one?
Oh, there are so many. Oh, I take no notice of them. I come to you for protection.
Seems I've been appointed guardian, eh? Oh, well.
Bruce, you are strange. Are you not a little pleased to see me?
Anywhere, any time. Trouble is, I'm expecting a visitor.
I will not interfere.
But it's business.
That is all right. I know nothing in the world about business. I cannot interrupt.
Understood, but I promise that this will be in private.
Then I go into the bedroom and shut the door. I stay there until he goes.
Wouldn't be cricket.
Cricket?
Never mind, dear. But really, I must see this person alone.
Monsieur Bruce, I come to you for protection. Now you make me jealous.
Jealous? How now?
I see the cocktail already.
Oh, got to impress the client, you know?
Who is it?
Oh, wouldn't interest you. Faye, I'll pick you up later at El Rocco. I must work sometimes, you know.
Very well. I'll go. But first, a little cocktail?
Well, why not? Oh, would be early, too.
Too late, Monsieur Bruce. There is your business acquaintance, and I am still here. But I promise you I will not be in the way.
Trouble is, someone else might think you are. Anyway, must face it. So there it was, an awkward spot. On one side of the door, the woman who seemed to be taking care of the lighter side of my life. On the other, Paquita Rufio, with information vital to my serious mission. Someone was going to be at daggers drawn in Operation Deathray.
Undercover Carson, secret agent. Operation Deathray, assignment in Rio.
Faye Corelli's unexpected arrival at my hotel suite put me in quite a spot. She was being pursued by another strange man. She wanted my protection. Trouble was, I was pursuing a blonde flyer, formerly of the German Air Force. And his former wife, Rio fashion model Paquita Rufio, was due to arrive any minute. I had fresh hopes of tracing the flyer, and so contacting the 6 scientists believed to share the secret of the death ray. I couldn't have Mademoiselle Corelli upsetting those hopes. But she wasn't over-anxious to leave. The newly mixed cocktail caused her to suspect that I may not be waiting for a business contact, as I'd said. Howsoever, I talked her into leaving. She was about to go when the door buzzer went. The situation was to be more bewildering than I expected.
Monsieur Bruce, are you not going to attend to the door? The buzzer go for the second time.
Listen to me, Faye. Perhaps you'd better go into the bedroom for the time being.
I am easy.
Though on second thoughts, that wouldn't help any.
No?
No, stay where you are. Have to get out of this best I can. Coming. Right with you. Miss Jensen. Surprise is coming thick and fast. What are you doing here?
I'd like to settle a matter with you, Mr. Carson.
Of course. Come in.
Thank you.
You know Mademoiselle Corelli, of course.
Oh, yes. We spoke this morning at my shop in Rue de Oubidor.
Unexpected call, this, Miss Jensen?
I've been out looking over some old silverware. As I was passing, I thought I'd see if you were in. The man on the desk said for me to come straight up, rather as if you'd been expecting me.
Oh, but he has.
Really?
For you especially, he has mixed the cocktail. But don't sip together when you talk business.
I don't understand. Mr. Carson couldn't possibly have known I was coming.
Oh, this is very peculiar.
Quite simple, actually. Miss Jensen isn't the person I was expecting.
She's just someone else dropping like me.
So?
Busy place. Oh, Monsieur Bruce, you must take another cocktail. So good to clear the throat with.
Oh, might at that. How about you, Miss Jensen?
A trifle early for cocktails, I fear.
Nonsense. I like them for breakfast myself. What about you, Monsieur Bruce?
Wouldn't be first time. Howsoever...
Most times, Miss Jensen, I never touch anything before I dance. but it is many hours yet before I go to El Rocco, so I can afford one or two. Ah, Monsieur Bruce, you are neglecting me?
Oh, your glass. Empty, of course. Quite sure you won't, Miss Jensen?
Positive.
Oh, well. Yeah, there we are, Faye.
Just right, Monsieur Bruce. Well, talk away, you two. Go on just as if I'm not here at all.
It will only take a moment. Mr. Carson, you will remember the crossbow.
Not likely to forget.
I should think not, especially after what happened. Miss, or whatever you call yourself. That was a most terrible thing to do to a person. Monsieur Bruce, he might easily be lying dead now with that ugly arrow through his breast.
Steady, Faye.
No, I am most very upset about it.
Did not Mr. Carson explain that I knew nothing about that crossbow being set as it was?
He did. But I do not know that I care to believe it.
You're not suggesting, I hope, that I did it deliberately.
If the cap fits, you wear it?
Really, Mr. Carson?
Faye, maybe you'd better just sip the cocktail.
Oui. I sip it all right there. Now another. I feel all jumbly inside.
A little that way myself. But here you are.
To continue, Mr. Carson.
Oh, yes, the crossbow. Intend picking it up next couple of days.
Please yourself about that. But the check?
Nothing wrong with it.
No. But I want to return it to you. Here.
Just a minute. Why?
I find the address given to me by the person who sent the crossbow to my shop
was a maternity hospital. Monsieur Carson and I know we went there. Behind the whole business there is something most nasty.
And most mysterious, if I may say so. But under the circumstances, I do not care to have anything further to do with the sale of the crossbow. As a dealer in old wares, I have my reputation to consider. You will take the check, Mr. Carson.
Your commission there. How about that?
I'm not handling the weapon. You may have it.
That vase, the one that was smashed when the arrow shot out of the crossbow.
I can scarcely blame you for that.
Seems I take it back then. Thanks.
Might I say how much I regret this mix-up? I trust it won't stand between us should any other weapon of interest fall into my hands.
Why should it?
You've been most understanding, Mr. Carson.
Oh, if you only knew how understanding he could really be.
We were supposed to be talking as if you were not here, Mademoiselle Corelli. But, Mr. Carson, you are apparently waiting on some special business appointment, so...
Jones, yes.
If you'll excuse me,
No, don't go yet.
Why not?
Just remembered. Phone call. Company waiting. I must make it.
Oh, you don't need me for that, surely.
Something else to say to you. This call urgent. Must get into the bedroom phone. Wait with Mademoiselle Corelli. Suddenly hit me. Paquita Riffia was due any time. No trouble seeing the last of the cool blonde Helena Jansen. But Faye was going to be more difficult than ever. Delightfully willful creature that she was. At the risk of having her gouge Helena's eyes out, I went into the bedroom and quickly dialed out to my Rio contact, my fellow bird watcher, Sir Giles Davenport.
Hello?
That you, Sir Giles?
Yes, indeed. Davenport here.
Carson.
Oh, Carson, old chap. How are you getting along with your business affairs?
Little confused at present, sir.
It always are, of course, when one starts out. You been getting any time for a spot of bird watching?
A little.
Splendid. Seen anything worth reporting?
I'm hoping to in the near future. The female species that mated with that migratory blonde bird. Sir Giles, I wonder, could you do me a favor?
Only too pleased to do what I can.
Could you come round here to El Presidente right away?
I was going for a breather, you know, but I suppose I could manage it. What's the trouble?
I've a very important contact coming up to my suite. Could be here any time now. But I've some feminine company. Rather hard to shift.
Oh.
I hate doing this, but must. Could you come round, sir? Sort of pose as the business contact I've been expecting. After all, you are one of the directors of the meat importing outfit.
Yeah, I think I can carry that off, Carson. Time is a premium, eh?
Very much, sir.
Then hang up, old man. I should be there inside 10 minutes.
Fine, sir. 10 minutes. Let's hope that's... Faye.
I am just coming in quietly. I am lonely out there.
Lonely? What about...
Oh, she went. She could not, what you call, tolerate me any longer. She looked down her nose at me. So I look under my eyelashes. The cold look I reserve for those men who ogle at me too hard when I dance. Monsieur Bruce, I tell you before, I do not like her.
Not your type, my dear.
Not yours either.
What is my type?
I think I know. But not that one. There is much else to her than you think.
How so?
Could she not telephone you? Why she need come all the way up to say hello?
But didn't you come all the way up?
With me it is different. Monsieur Bruce, show to me that pipe again.
That pipe? I've got scores, you know.
The one from Switzerland, I mean.
Oh, this.
Oui, that is it. With a tiny musical box underneath it. Switch it on for me.
My dear, it's...
Please, Monsieur Bruce.
Martyr to the species. Howsoever...
It is so lovely. You remember, Monsieur Bruce, I tell you I know a very special dance to that music. A dance for you?
Some other time.
Oh, you are so mean.
My dear young lady, you must understand that I'm in Rio on business for my company. I have work to do.
But not until your business person arrives.
Surely you wouldn't want such a special dance interrupted by the door buzzer.
Well, perhaps not. But do not turn off the little switch. I want to listen to it.
Please yourself. Better hurry, Sir Giles.
What you say, Monsieur Bruce?
Oh, just passing thought. Nothing. Oh, here's a pipe, though. You hold it till the musical box runs down. Times when you'd adore a creature like Fay for wanting to linger, but not this time. The musical box ran down. She insisted on winding it up again. I was thinking I should have accepted the dance offer and made the best of things when the door buzzer went. Sir Giles both looked and acted the part of a sedate business contact. Fay seemed convinced. She left after I'd promised to drop in at El Rocco that night. Quickly as I could, I brought Sir Giles up to date.
But, Carson, you only arrived here the day before yesterday.
So?
You wasted no time in getting acquainted with the city's loveliest attractions. 3, Carson.
Oh, coincidence, sir. Nothing more.
One never knows.
I was down at the Black Macaw looking for our blonde flyer when Fay came in, saw the Rio dandy who was following her. Appealed to me for protection.
Don't blame you for offering it, old chap, especially after seeing her, divine figure.
Should see her dancing at El Rocco.
Yes, I certainly must. But this fashion model, you say, she's somewhat exotic, too.
As only Rio models can be.
It's strange that she should contact you, Carson.
It did surprise me.
The thing that I don't like is that big foreign fellow who you said employed her.
Oh, Seidel.
Yes, Carson. I'd like to know where he fits into the picture.
The way she spoke over the phone, he seemed to be something of a monster.
Possibly he is. Yet, Carson, for her to ring you like that, you must have let on that you were interested in certain aspects of her past.
I did my best not to, sir.
On the other hand, she may know from other sources.
I see what you mean, Sir Giles.
I'd take her very gently, Carson. Just a word of advice from a somewhat older bird watcher,
Yes, thank you, sir. Anyway, care for a cocktail?
Might as well, I suppose.
Right. Have to wait, I'm afraid. That'll be the senorita.
Never mind, old man. I'll slip inside to the bedroom and leave you to it. But remember, Carson, this is your big chance to get in contact with that flyer. Take her gently.
Sir Giles went to the bedroom and closed the door. I went to the suite door, opened it, and there was Paquita Rufio, alone. It seemed strange that one so beautiful could hold the key to the ugly secret behind Operation Deathray.
Undercover Carson, secret agent. Operation Deathray, assignment in Rio.
Things were quite tense that afternoon in my rather luxurious El Presidente Hotel suite. I'd been searching somewhat aimlessly for a trace of the blonde German flyer who could put me on the trail of the 6 scientists, and so the secret of the Deathray. Now I was about to see his former wife, Paquita Rifio, a Rio fashion model. Meanwhile, Sir Giles Davenport, my Rio contact and fellow birdwatcher, had slipped into the bedroom to wait. The buzzer went a second time. I opened the door. There was the exotic senorita, quite alone.
It is all right for me to come in, Senor Carson?
I'm waiting for you rapturously. Come on.
Thank you. Such a lovely apartment.
Oh, well, company pays.
Company?
The meat importing firm I work for. British outfit.
Of course, see. In the newspapers when they write of your arrival and all your most unusual hobbies, I read of that.
Anyhow, make yourself at home. Waste no time putting my mind at ease.
At ease, Senor Carson? There is nothing wrong, I hope.
Not, except, can't puzzle out why you should ring me as you did. Ordinary fellow, as I am.
Ordinary? Oh, never that, Senor Carson.
No? How so?
For one thing, these strange pipes of yours. The one that you are wearing now, for an example.
Wearing? Oh, pardon me. Take it out.
I'm glad you have done that, Senor. Because now I can attend to the first reason why I come here.
Oh, I say, my dear,
There.
Unexpected salute.
You do not care to be kissed?
Oh, not allergic, show you. But trifle unexpected, as I said.
Ah, but you deserve it.
I do?
Of course. For the way that you saved me from harm today in my apartment.
Oh, that. Oh, so it happened I was passing down the stairs, heard the rumpus. Couldn't very well do anything else but chase the fellow off.
Oh, I shall never forget Senor Carson. At my throat were his hands.
I mustn't think about it.
I am not able to forget. You see, Senor Carson, there are other hands at my throat.
How so?
Constantly, Senor. Look at me.
But,
Please, Senor.
Oh, not allergic to that, either.
What do you see in my face?
Beauty, senorita.
Happiness?
A little troubled at the moment, perhaps.
A little. I am most unhappy. When I smile, it is only a mask. Senor, I must tell you about myself. When I am 17, the war is over in other countries of the world. Just. There is a dashing and handsome young German flying man who arrives here in Rio. He is gay. He has a wonderful place to live. His means are endless. So we become married. But soon there is no money. Everything begins to crumble away. Love and happiness.
Senorita, precisely why are you telling me all this?
I have a purpose, believe me. It is to the benefit of both of us. Hear my story, I plead of you.
Oh, don't worry. But, cocktail to keep it company.
Will you be offended if I still say no thank you?
Offended? Oh, perish the thought. On with the story.
Senor, I am not quite 20 when I am parted from this husband of mine. He was not understanding to me. Yet I suppose the blame is also mine. Once his means are at an end, I cannot be in love with him any longer. So I am a model to keep myself alive. Everywhere my pictures are printed, but the money is still not enough to live as I desire. So I think it a fine idea to leave my affairs to Eric Seidel.
You work exclusively for him?
Exclusively. I cannot breathe, but he wants to know what I am doing. Money it has brought me indeed, but I am completely in his hands. Senor Carson, I open my heart to you. When I married Carl, I was gentle. Eric has taught me to be hard. Now that I am so desperate for the way to break out of his power, I will do almost anything. Anything. Senor Carson, I've had so little experience at striking the bargain. But here I have come to make one with you.
Oh, I'm a businessman, you know. My profession. Always willing to listen to a proposition. Let's hear.
First, when that horrible man invades my flat today, you remember perhaps what he wanted to know of me?
That demand was made before I broke in.
In your presence later, I spoke of it again.
Perhaps Carson's memory needs jogging.
He was interested in some scientists who had flown to South America with Carl, my husband. From me, he wanted their names.
So? Have vague recollection.
I could not answer him, because I have never known any names.
Remember you saying that now?
Another thing he demanded of me, Senor, was this. Where is my former husband now?
You, didn't know that either.
To the horrible man, I said that.
But, point of fact, you do know?
I do, Senor Carson. And I believe such information may be of great importance to you.
Me? How come by such an extraordinary idea?
I think you're interested.
Astounds me.
I will tell you why. This horrible man asks me another question. Has Senor Bruce Carson ever been in touch with me?
Well...
Senor Carson, I have been thinking. Was it simply by chance that you happened to be outside my apartment today to rescue me?
Absolutely. Don't doubt me, surely?
Oh, it would be most ungrateful if I did that, Senor. But this information about my former husband is what you call the basis of my bargain. To break free of Eric, I must have Proceros.
Senorita, thinking the matter over...
You are interested?
No, but that horrible type, he might be getting me mixed up with someone else in the company. Got a few wild devils on the payroll, you know. Perhaps I could do a quick checkup.
Oh, you mean to find out who it really is that is anxious for the information?
So, get him to ring your apartment, perhaps.
Oh, no, please, no. Eric must remain unaware of all this.
Of course, but how contact you?
Perhaps the person could ring my apartment. Let them ask for Dolores.
Dolores? So?
If a man answer, it will be Eric. Put down the receiver.
Oh, yes. Tell the person that.
If I answer and I say wrong number, you will know that someone about. If all safe, then I will speak.
Simple enough.
But I desire a high price for the information, Senor Carson.
What do you call high price?
25,000 cruceros.
25,000. Let's see. Sterling, roughly £500. High, I suppose.
I must have all of that to break away from Eric. Senor Carson, you have been most understanding.
Wish I could be a little more. I understand exactly what this is all about, I mean.
Perhaps you do not care to reveal yourself?
Open as a book. Oh, but before you go, you simply must have a cocktail.
Impossible, Senor.
How now?
Eric, perhaps he is at the studio of the photographer. He might suspect something.
Oh, have to knock off rest myself, seems.
Think of me when you're drinking it, Senor Carson. And before I go, let me thank you still once again.
Never know what's going to happen next in Rio. Marvelous city, warm-hearted people. The breathtaking Paquita departed, and Sir Giles came out of the bedroom, chuckling. We both needed a few swigs of that cocktail.
Tasty brew, Carson.
Oh, nothing out of the ordinary, Sir Giles?
Well, compared with the senorita...
See what you mean.
You handled her rather well, I thought.
Oh, handled herself rather well.
True, no fool. Either genuinely desperate to break free of this sidle fellow, or a superb actress.
Yes, Sir Giles. I had to restrain myself not to strike a bargain there and then.
Yeah, rather glad you didn't.
This needs...
Thinking out. Could be a trap.
Well, my thoughts, too. Cheers, anyway.
Cheers.
Yeah, feeling a trifle weary myself. Reaction, perhaps.
Dog-tired, Carson. But about this girl, as I said, you must think it over.
Oh, so... time's premium, but can't afford to go off half-cocked. Anyway, Sir Giles... Sir Giles!
Carson is scarcely hold me head up.
I feel exactly the same. Sir Giles!
Sorry, Carson, I must sleep.
It's the cocktail doctored, Sir Giles. Doctored. I can still hear myself sighing, powerless to do anything about it. Been doing undercover work for many years. Never caught like that before. I was first to stir. Room and pitch darkness. First I stared at the luminous dial of my watch till I saw 8 o'clock. 4 hours. Switched on the lights, then got busy on Sir Giles. Sir! Sir, wake up, Sir Giles.
I see. Where... What the deuce?
A cocktail. Drugged.
It's a confoundedly stupid thing to do, Carson.
For me to do?
Oh, beg your pardon. Of course not you. It must have been the emotional Paquita. Hard to imagine it, eh?
So. Yes, but it might have been Helena Jensen, or even my divine dancer, Fakerelli. They were in here practically one after the other.
Yes, you were explaining. Anyway, the suite, any harm done?
Looks all right. No sign of anyone having been through.
You weren't drugged for nothing, Carson. You'd better check your pockets.
Nothing incriminating in mine. Always make sure of that.
How about money?
A couple of $100 cruzeros in my wallet, that's all. But wait, there was that check that Helena Jensen returned to me.
Then check up fast.
Yes, must.
Well, Carson?
Notes all there. How about yourself, Sir Giles?
Nothing missing. But their check.
Yes, here too.
Then what the blazes...
Hold on.
Something has gone?
No, something added.
Well, what's the folded paper?
A note. Printed with ballpoint pen. Interesting.
Let's hear it, man.
Sorry you couldn't oblige this time. Signed, one of the girls.
One of the girls? That means...
Helena, Fay, or Paquita?
Vixen.
Only one, Sir Giles.
Let's find out which one, Bajove. Then we'll know who's interfering with our attempts to get at that German flyer.
By all means, Sir Giles. Though who could imagine the culprit being any one of those 3 divine creatures? So, there it was. A ruse as old as Cloak and Dagger. 3 suspects. Seemed the field was getting more crowded and glamorous in the race for the grim prize of Operation Deathray.
Undercover Carson, secret agent. Operation Deathray, assignment in Rio.
The burning question was, who had drugged the cocktail? First suspect was Paquita Rifio, our exotic fashion model. She was the last caller at my hotel suite on that rather busy afternoon. She'd been there offering to sell me the information we so desperately needed, the whereabouts of her former husband, the blonde flyer. But then, shortly before her, there'd been 2 other callers, the fair, aloof Helena Jensen and our French-Italian dancer, Fay Corelli. Which one of them? Sir Giles Davenport and I had a light snack out on the balcony. We sat back there looking out on the shimmering lights of Rio. We still hadn't arrived at any answer.
Look at it down below, Carson. Must be some of the speediest traffic in the world.
Yeah, without a doubt, Sir Giles. Big city, Rio.
Wonderful city. But to get back to it, who tampered with your cocktail?
Can't imagine any one of those dear creatures.
You might have done it yourself, of course.
Me, Sir Giles?
Indeed. I recall you telling me that among the fabulous pipes you carry about, you have one with knockout drops concealed in a false bowl. In fact, you showed me the juicy thing.
Never been guilty of self-inflicted wounds, huh?
I don't know about that either.
How so?
Well, in a few days you've inflicted these 3 women upon yourself, and look what happened.
I see what you mean.
And it must be one of them.
Well, best we can do is go through them one by one again. Fay Corelli. Imagine her?
Candidly, no. Divine soul like that, it seems impossible. Besides, any reason why she should?
Nothing definite.
But something, Carson? Come along.
She was very curious to know who my business contact was to be. The one for whom the cocktail mixed.
Well, hardly a motive, but strange minds to some women. She could well have dropped something into the cocktail.
Oh, yes, the top was off the shaker. And Nothing was poured from it after I gave Faye a glass when she was at daggers drawn with Helena Jansen.
This Miss Jansen could be suspected. After all, Carson, it was at that antique shop of hers that you nearly collected an arrow from some ancient crossbow.
Don't think so, sir. Madness for her to do anything so obvious. Knew nothing about it, sure.
Yet this afternoon there wasn't really any necessity for her to come up to your suite.
Perhaps not. Yet the chappie on desk below knew I was expecting someone. Said go straight up. More like a carpeted railway station, this place, than a hotel, you know, sir.
Of course, I've never met the young lady.
But you've seen her, though?
Oh, vaguely, Carson, when I've dropped into that shop of hers in the Rue de Ouvidor. Had no special reason to study her.
Striking, you know.
Oh, indeed.
One wonders what she might really be like under that brittle surface. Howsoever...
That brings us back to the senorita.
So, the soulful Paquita.
Wasn't able to set eyes on her either, Carson. But listening from the bedroom, she sounded interesting enough, old man.
Acted that way, too, sir. But she'd just told me her life story. Explained in a reasonable way why she'd decided to sell the dope on her former husband's whereabouts. Rang pretty true, sir.
Reasonable enough, I suppose.
This Eric Seidel's got her so organized that her life's not her own. Wants to get back her freedom. Money the only way. This her chance.
It could be a clever concoction all the same.
Sir Giles, I had a little interlude with Eric Seidel. We'll believe all the senorita says.
Then we've no special reason for saying it was her either.
No, feel certain.
And that gets us back to where we started from.
Oh, Sir Giles, we must decide now whether or not to act on Paquita's offer. One thing's becoming clearer and clearer. The agents of another power, or powers, are working right under our noses. The sooner we track down that blonde flyer, the better. Obviously, no one else has trailed him yet.
Apparently not, Carson.
Then how about we take up her offer?
At 25,000 cruceros?
Oh, only £500 sterling, roughly.
Only?
Oh, beat it down to half that, perhaps. But at twice the price. Worth it to us. And we have the wherewithal.
Well, that can be arranged, Carson. But we can't negotiate with her, not directly.
I'm not suggesting that, sir.
Oh?
Yeah, we'll just have to nut out some way. But soon.
Yeah, what about my servant?
Angelo. Jones, yes. Yes, he could handle it, huh?
Handle some devilish problems in his time, Carson.
Imagine it. Especially after he threatened me with that knife.
This'll be his chance to make up for that episode, Carson, and he's eager to do that.
Let's see now how we go about it.
You told the young woman you'd make inquiries regarding who it was who might be interested in tracking down this former husband of hers.
So, she seemed to have the idea it was me. I had to smother that as best I could. Anyway, if we decide that Angelo can meet her somewhere tomorrow, say, to discuss terms, I could phone her tonight.
Angelo's free at any time, so you can phone her as soon as you like.
I'll try it right away.
Good.
Of course, there's that little formality to be observed. Just make sure we don't start whispering into friend Seidel's ear. But let's inside. Wasn't without its perils, this move, however carefully we handled it. If Paquita Rifio was working against, and there were people working against us, and someone had drugged the cocktail, then perhaps Undercover Carson would be forced out into the open. Anyway, I phoned through to her apartment with Sir Giles standing alongside, quietly stroking his chin. It was all over in a matter of seconds.
No luck, Carson?
Afraid not, Sam. Asked for Dolores as prearranged.
Yes.
Paquita answered. I just said I was on the wrong number.
Coast not clear, eh?
Seidel or someone about, obviously.
I like the way you disguised your voice, Carson.
Do wonders with pipe in mouth.
Jolly good. Anyway, we'll have to defer things until the morning.
Pity, though. Overnight, anything could happen. For what powers these other agents are working, we can only guess. But they're working. And they're working darn well.
Well, as long as they don't go beyond turning over private hotel suites or drugging cocktails, we won't be lost in the race. But I'd better be getting back to my apartment. Angelo will be out of his dear dark mind, worrying where I am. Care to come over, Carson? Just for the run. Short, but still...
Actually, going to El Rocco, sir.
El Rocco? Oh. Enough said.
Promised fair.
Why not, old chap?
Well, why not you too, sir?
Oh, now, Carson, the aged fella like myself...
You said you'd like to see Faye dance, sir?
I did. Perhaps...
Oh, then let's. millionaire's idea of bird watching.
Thank you, Carson. First, I give Angelo a tinkle, and then we'll be off.
How much water with the scotch, Sir Giles?
About halfway up, old chap. That'll do fine. I suppose it is safe to drink this?
Oh, imagine so, sir.
Hate to doze off now that we are finally down here with Mademoiselle Corelli about to perform. Here's the best.
Cheers.
Cheers. Anything wrong, Carson?
Nothing special, just wondering where Fay is.
We saw her a moment ago, didn't we? Fluttering around the edge of the stage.
So, but wondering why she hasn't come over.
Oh, mind on her work, perhaps.
Strange, huh? Howsoever, let's drink.
Hello, what now?
Fay's act. Band getting ready.
Oh, yes, of course. Ah, Carson, here she is now. As you say, old chap, divine.
So, but there is something wrong.
It seems perfection to me.
No, not the dance. From that look on her face, we might not be here.
Oh, then we'll soon attend to that.
No, don't wait, sir.
Carson.
Best we don't try to recognize her.
But why, old chap?
I can't quite work it out.
Of course, you know the way these dancers get, almost in a trance.
It wasn't like this last time I saw her.
Not better, surely. Why, I've never seen the like. Supple as a kitten, by Jove.
Steady now, sir. She's spinning round towards us.
Yes, magnificent.
Steady, sir.
Oh, yes, old chap. But still...
Explain in a moment. I knew she was up to something.
Carson...
You probably didn't notice it, Sir Giles, but when she did that backflip business,
yes.
She tossed something under the drapes of the cloth on the table. But don't look down.
Well, naturally not.
I'm just edging it over with my foot. Almost alongside chair leg. Now's a chance to pick it up.
You got it.
So, message.
Careful as you read it.
Don't worry, sir.
Well, Carson?
We've got to get out of here, Sir Giles. Fast.
Any reason given?
Someone over in corner planning to start a fight with me. Let's go.
We can't leave while the young lady's still dancing.
No matter of have to. Come on. Tragedy to have to depart in the middle of that dancing routine. But when a message like that slips to you, always wisest to make the graceful exit if you value your good looks. Reached the dark, narrow side street outside as the second part of Fay's act came to an end.
Oh, what now, Carson?
Best we get out into a main street and hail a taxi.
We owe both apologies and thanks to the young lady.
Later sometime. Let's go.
Carson, who'll be wanting to start a fight, I wonder?
No idea, but when one in the offing in place like that, sooner out the better.
What now? Why stop?
Moving shadows, Sir Giles.
Oh, I see.
Closing in. Friends of the party inside, no doubt.
Makes it awkward, don't you think?
Very awkward. Looks like a fight in the offing after all. Awkward, to say the least. Fay Corelli apparently hadn't known about the reinforcements outside. 1, 2, 3 shadows closing in. Looked like a rather one-sided skirmish coming up in Operation Deathray.
Undercover Carson, secret agent. Operation Deathray, assignment in Rio.
The moment Fay Corelli started to dance that night at El Rocco, I sensed that something was wrong. I sat with Sir Giles Davenport, my Rio contact, at a table alongside the small floor. Fay gave no sign that she recognized us, but she danced close to us, and in the course of a rather breathtaking back flip, she shot something under the drapes of the cloth covering the table. Message, brief one, saying some sociable fellow in the corner was about to pick a fight with me. Discretion being what it is, we left. But once out in that dark, narrow side street, we were stopped in our tracks. The shadows were moving, menacingly. They wore boots.
As I was saying, Carson, awkward, don't you think?
Seems so, Sir Giles.
I fear I won't be much support in a skirmish. The only thing I shape up to these days is a mosquito, and then most times lose out. How many are there?
4, 5.
Dismal odds. Never carry a gun, more's the pity. Yourself?
The best I can manage is a pipe.
We'll scarcely bludgeon our way out with that.
Bluff our way, perhaps. This one, for instance.
What the deuce?
One of my novelty pipes, this. Specially designed to the somewhat sardonic tastes of a Turk. Stems a bored barrel, fine caliber.
Extraordinary.
Just twist the bowl, like so, and armed she is.
How many rounds, man?
6. Effective, I assure you.
Well, let's see how effective, Carson. Those shadows are closing in.
Here goes. This has gone far enough, my friends. You'll keep your distance.
They're still coming, Carson.
This in my hand is a gun. Stop. Look out.
They don't seem to understand.
Hurry, cuidado. Comprendeme.
Still moving, old chap.
So, seems they don't think this is a gun. Very well. Shot over their heads. Watch out for yourselves. Now.
Carson.
Miss fire, seems. Try again. Great Lucifer.
That the 6, old chap?
So, can't understand it.
They've been smoking the propellant, I fear, but what now?
Fists, expect. Ready, Sir Giles? Here they come.
What's that, Carson? Where did that shot...
Someone behind the mob. Stopped them anyway.
It's the wisest that you stop, senor. This gun will not fail.
Why, it's Angelo.
It is.
Now,
Stout
my
fellow.
friends, you will permit the 2 English senors to depart unmolested.
Our cue, Carson.
No urging needed, Sir Giles. Besides, shooting's drawn the nightclub crowd outside. Best make ourselves scarce. Never a dull moment. Our would-be assailants went one way, we the other. The El Rocco crowd came out and wondered. Meanwhile, we were driving comfortably along one of Rio's broad avenues, Sir Giles' trusty servant at the wheel.
Indeed, Angelo, I cannot say it too often. A really timely arrival, eh, Carson?
Most.
Excellency, when you give me the telephone ring and say you go to El Rocco with Senor Carson, I think to myself alone.
Carson's going to lead the old fella into trouble, eh?
Oh, no, Excellency. In Senor Carson I have every faith, but not in El Rocco. Many bad tales are told of that place.
Yes, no doubt.
So I think perhaps you need a spare guardian angel, especially when the pipe gun of Senor Carson refused to work.
Jobs, yes. Awkward, that. Can't understand why it failed.
As I said, Carson, you smoked the propellant. Gives you that explosive charm with women. Hey, easy on the corners, Angelo. And Carson, don't go fiddling around with that pipe in here. I might finally decide to go off.
In fact, sir.
That's the idea. Shove it back in your pocket out of harm's way. But now that we've settled down, what do you make of tonight?
Well, we've opposition on this job. Ample evidence of that.
Indeed.
In the nightclub, seems Fay either spotted or overheard someone plotting trouble for us.
Or did she?
How do you mean, Sir Giles?
That message might have been a simple ruse to get us outside into certain waiting arms.
Perhaps. Though on second thoughts, not.
No?
She was afraid of something when she was dancing. Told you so, long before we got the note.
Well, Carson, for all her lissom grace, one can't help but suspect her. You recall what happened at your hotel suite this afternoon. Someone doctored the cocktail. Either Mademoiselle Corelli, Miss Helena Jensen, or Senorita Paquita Rifio.
So?
And speaking of the Senorita, brings us back to... Angelo, what the devil are you trying to do? Turn the rolls on its back?
No, Excellency. Simply trying to shake off our pursuer.
What? Pursuers?
By means of the mirror, I observed them.
Fact, Sir Giles. Someone tailing us.
Well, in that case, Angelo, perhaps you'd step on it.
At once, Excellency.
Had enough trouble for one night. Let her rip. Nice driving, Angelo. Undoubtedly they wanted to run us down in some badly lit stretch of road. It took a little shaking off, but here we are, Carson, at your hotel.
Been quite a day, Sir Giles.
Quite. And, reverting to Senorita Rifio...
Oh, yes, Sir Giles. We go ahead in the morning, then.
She's under suspicion, too, of course, but we just can't afford to pass up her offer to put us in touch with that German flyer. What say you drop into my apartment and we arrange final details?
Sir.
Be there about 8:30.
On dot. Well, say good night.
Good night, old chap.
Buenas noches, senor.
Yes, Angelo. And once again, many thanks for turning up when you did.
Monsieur Carson.
What now?
Monsieur Bruce.
Faye, what are you doing there in the shadows?
Please, over here.
Right. Now, tell me now, why here at this late hour?
It is most important to me that I speak to you. Otherwise I will not rest tonight in peace.
Something troubling you, madame?
Of course. You received my note at El Rocco?
Did?
Well, you're not pleased?
Yes, except we nearly ran into serious trouble outside.
There was someone outside also? That was a shot? Oh, Monsieur Bruce, you were not hurt. That charming aged gentleman was not hurt.
Not a hair of our heads.
Oh, I was so terrified when I overhear those men making the plan to pick a fight with you. I hear nothing of the others outside, though.
The ones inside. What like?
Dressed, as you say it, loud.
Rio dandies again.
Oui, that is right. They come often to El Rocco.
So, but why pick on me?
Monsieur Bruce, I think perhaps they are jealous that I care for you. That is why when I dance, I try to make it appear I never see you.
That it?
Of course, it was torture for me.
Felt a little uncomfortable myself. Howsoever, my dear, no harm done. But the hour's late. What am I going to do with you?
Perhaps you like to drive me home? Oui, Monsieur Bruce.
Well,
I am afraid of being pursued also.
Me too, as it happens.
By a man?
Let pass. But, taxi.
Monsieur Bruce, whatever would I do without you?
Be feeling lost without you, mademoiselle, the way things are going. But, let's be off. Eventually reached my hotel suite, put my pipes to bed, then self. In the course of getting Mademoiselle Corelli home, I mentioned the business of the doctored cocktail. It was that Jansen woman, no doubt about it. Expected that from Faye, but who was it really? The misgivings were still there the following morning when we started operations from Sir Giles Davenport's Copacabana apartment. I'd dialed Paquita Rifio's number. It was ringing.
You'll disguise your voice, of course, Carson.
Naturally, Sir Giles. Here we are.
Und yes?
Good morning to you also. Senorita Dolores, it is possible to speak to her?
Who is that?
Senorita Dolores?
You're speaking to Dolores.
Of course. All is safe, eh? Actually, it is Senorita Paquito Rifio to whom I am speaking.
It is. But please be quick. I may not be alone for long.
It has come to my ears that you may have some information which would be of value to me.
In return for 25,000 cruceros?
A large sum.
I will not bargain, senor. Unless I receive that sum, the risk is not worth it.
Don't haggle, Carson. Anything.
Right, sir.
Are you there?
Of course.
I will not bring down the price.
Never fear. I will pay. But there must be no delay. Would it be possible to meet the agent we have appointed in exactly 1 hour?
Whereabouts?
Avenida Rio Branco.
How will I know him?
He will be selling curios. He will offer you a purse of Indian design. Inside it you will find 25,000 cruceros in notes. That is, of course, after you have told our agent where we might find your former husband.
He will be told the place. He will also be told the means.
The means?
I will explain to him. Now I must go. 1 hour from now, Avenida Rio Branco.
That is so.
Till then, adios.
Till then, senorita.
Chopping, Carson, chopping. By Jove, spoken like a native. Eh, Angelo?
Indeed, Excellency.
Well, up to you now, Angelo. You'll be selling the curios. We'll be standing by, hoping all goes well.
And it must go well, Carson. Think of what's at stake.
There was something at stake, all right. A deadly secret weapon, something never used before. Others were after it. But for the sake of peace, we had to win the grim prize in Operation Deathray.
Undercover Carson, secret agent. Operation Deathray, assignment in Rio.
Could scarcely complain to London of lack of variety and diversion in this South American assignment. The exotic French-Italian dancer Fay Corelli, the aloof and increasingly mysterious Helena Jansen, and Paquita Riffio, the alluring fashion model. And it was through Paquita that I believed I was going to meet my blonde flyer, and so track down those 6 European scientists. But with Paquita it was a business deal. She was going to sell the information so that she'd have the money to break free from her manager, the hulking Eric Seidel. We had half an hour before the rendezvous. Sir Giles Davenport's servant was to be the go-between. You know, Sir Giles, pleasant change to drive along these fine streets at a moderate pace. Local taxi drivers go hell for leather. Struck 'em bad last day or two.
Never fear, Carson. Our Angelo sometimes carries on as if this rolls were made to fly. But I think if we park here about somewhere, we might conclude our arrangements.
Here, Excellency.
Yes, Angelo. Close in by the tree.
As you wish, Excellency.
We're quite handy to the appointed meeting place, Carson. No more than a leisurely 5 minutes walk.
I don't suppose Angelo will be long in changing his identity.
Indeed not.
Senor, in a moment when I've completed the parking of the car, I will demonstrate to you.
Of course, Carson. I prefer the quick change when Angelo switches from the soul of politeness to murder incarnate.
Fortunately, Sir Giles, I've only seen that in reverse.
Now, senor, first for the coat, I exchange the shawl. And for the cap, the sombrero, as it is called by you. And finally, for the gloves, the tray of curios.
Amazing.
No, Excellency, I'm all prepared.
Not quite, Angelo.
My Jove's not.
But in what respect do I fail to be the part of the curio seller?
You haven't the main item in your tray.
Oh, indeed not, no. Oh, but that must come from you.
You got it, I trust, Carson?
So, here.
Quite a large and attractive purse.
What's in it more attractive?
Of course. The 25,000 cruceros.
Here, Angelo. No, you'll handle it right way.
Be well assured of that, Senor Carson. The young woman will not receive the purse until I have the name of the place where this former flyer of fair hair may be found.
So?
Well, then, so far, so good. I think, Angelo, you'd better make your way over to the Avenida Rio Branco.
As you wish, Excellency.
Set yourself up somewhere close to a building entrance.
Depend upon that. Close by me there will be a pillar or some similar concealment where you and Senor Carson may wait unobserved.
That'll be top-notch. But of course, Angelo, you won't sell the purse to some casual passerby.
Excellency, before I do such a thing, I would surely sell my own soul.
You sold that years ago, you rogue. But be off with you. We'll saunter over a short while after you. Eh, Carson?
So, Sir Giles. 10 minutes. That should give us more than enough time. Good spot he picked, must say.
Couldn't be better. A vestibule full of dark shadows, a yard or two from the pavement, and the rogue himself out there drenched in the sunlight.
Looks the part.
A man of many parts, Carson. There's no doubt you'll find out as time goes on. But speaking of time...
I was just glancing at the watch.
I noticed you. How long since we made the arrangements by telephone with the alluring Senorita Rifio?
A shade under the decided hour.
Better look sharp, then.
I've already spotted her.
You have?
So. Flower stall, other side of the avenue. She's having a good look at Angelo before coming across.
Oh, yes. But, man, she is a stunner.
She is, Sir Giles. She's coming over now. Better get right back in the shadows. City of glorious sights, Rio. But where could you match the sight of Paquita Rifio walking across in the sunlight, her slightly exaggerated nonchalance adding to her lissom charm? She went right up to Angelo. They began to converse. Sir Giles and I were straining so hard to hear that we took little notice of a car that slid up and stopped.
Can't hear a dash thing, Carson.
They're talking too low.
Progressing well. See, Angelo's handing over the purse.
So? But that car!
Someone's grabbed the girl!
Hauled her into that car.
Great heavens! Angelo! Angelo!
Back, Sir Giles. We didn't show ourselves.
But... Oh, bold fellow, Angelo. He's on the running board.
You mean he was?
Jove, Carson. Pushed off.
Looks all right. Let's get out of here before a crowd congregates.
Yes, indeed. Angelo will join us at the rolls.
So, let's hope he got that information. Otherwise, we've donated 25,000 cruceros to Eric Seidel.
You mean the fellow who...
So, Paquita's so-called manager. He was driving that car. But let's go. It's Angelo.
At last. Man, what detained you?
Excellency, I've got some difficulty in slipping away. There were people there who desired to detain me so that I could tell the story to the police.
But you didn't?
Indeed not. I escaped in a roundabout way.
Good. You haven't been followed, but we'll get into the car and get well away.
So, but the information, Angelo?
Senor, I handed over the purse, therefore I have the information.
Ah, stout fella.
This man, you see, he may be found at a place called Ocetao.
Ocetao? The cellar? Cafe, perhaps?
See, close to the Avenida Mendoza.
Where's that?
The Larda district, Carson, a bohemian locality.
And the one you seek frequents this place on most evenings after the hour of 9.
Be there tonight. Sir Giles? Looks as if we have our blonde bird at last.
No, senor. Seek one who is fair, and then you will be greatly disappointed.
Oh? How so?
This flyer is taken to wearing of a beard.
Beard? Go on.
And like his head, senor, it is dyed to the color of black.
Very valuable information. And, as I said, I'll be there tonight. Didn't refuse when Sir Giles suggested that Angelo might trail me to the cafe and wait outside. Starting to like the fellow, appreciate him. Oh, Citao, well named. A cellar leading down off a side street, dim, fairly crowded. Entered, wondering whether this was going to be merely the start of another leg in the search. But the luck was with me. The fellow was sitting alone, morose, dishevelled. Mind if I sit here? Thank you. You may be able to help me, my friend. I'm looking for a man who now wears a dark beard, such as you wear, though his hair is naturally blonde. He was formerly a flyer with the German Air Force. Quite a bit of information on him, one way and another. But as far as I can gather, he does talk.
Yeah, he does.
Then you are Carl Schmidt?
It is a name that I once possessed. But why should you be interested in me?
I believe you have information which is valuable to me.
And from what nation are you?
Need you ask?
Yours is not the first smooth English tongue that has come seeking information from me.
No?
No, my friend. Who are you?
Best I don't say, old chap. But the information...
No, I have not imparted it to anyone.
I see.
They are greatly sought after, these 6 men.
Matter of fact, old chap, this source is prepared to pay handsomely.
You interest me.
And you interest me, too, Herr Schmidt. This is no trifling matter, so best I speak my mind. To judge from your appearance, things aren't so bright.
Why do you speak your mind in such a way?
Valuable information, old chap. Fellow's down on his luck. Natural to sell.
I told you, my friend, I have not imparted the information.
How so?
Because in many ways I have sunk so low. It is only by safeguarding this information that I have been able to retain the last particle of my honor and self-respect.
I see, old chap.
Ah, you would not understand.
Perhaps I do. But I assure you, the purpose to which I will put this information...
Yeah, always for the good. How often do I hear that? They all say it.
Who, for instance?
You would very much like to know, Nine?
So?
No, my friend. That also involves my honor.
You're a strange fellow. Didn't expect you to be anything like this.
Yeah, I am strange. Even to myself, I am strange.
If it would help, perhaps I am prepared to reveal something of my background.
But this, then, it is no place in which to talk.
Elsewhere, then? Go now?
No, nothing tonight. There is too much else upon my mind.
Tomorrow night?
It will be the same, still. The night after.
Time's precious to me, you know.
The night after.
Right. But where?
Along this same street. Perhaps 7 or 8 shops. There is a quieter cafe.
Dimly lit? Lantern hanging outside?
Yeah.
Noticed it passing. Well, seems I'll leave you now.
Yeah, and it seems you are about to be urged to leave me, my friend.
How so?
There is someone hastening towards you.
Huh? Oh, Angelo.
Senor, you must leave in great haste. Outside.
Not another reception committee?
No, Senor. On this occasion, they're planning to come inside and...
Planning? Or already coming inside?
Senor, I fear they now crowd the doorway. This is a cellar. I fear also there will be some difficulty in getting out.
First, the lucky break, then the bad, in the shape of half a dozen ugly bruises. I was caught in a cellar. How was I going to find my way out of this particular trap in Operation Deathray?
Undercover Carson, secret agent. Operation Deathray, an assignment in Rio.
Once I had identified Karl Schmidt, the former German Air Force pilot, I felt I was well on the way to obtaining the information that would lead on to the secret of the Deathray. But Schmidt proved a surprise. His blonde hair was dyed black, beard the same. Seemed disturbed psychologically. And I felt certain he was speaking the truth when he said other agents had been at him for information. Best I could do was arrange to meet him 2 nights later. I was about to leave the Cellar Cafe when Angelo, Sir Giles Davenport's servant, suddenly informed me that someone else had other plans. Coming down into all the noise and smoke were 6 pairs of smoldering eyes.
Senor Carson, it is their intention to do you much harm.
Ugly bunch, Angelo.
Outside, I was able to overhear them. I hastened in, Senor, but it is too late.
I wonder if this is the crowd that waited outside the El Rocco nightclub for me last night.
The very same.
I thought as much.
Tonight, they are determined that you will not elude them.
See about that. Schmidt.
What is it?
This in. Any other way out?
There is not.
Pity.
You are unfortunate. The newcomers appear to be determined.
So, spreading out.
They intend to approach us from many directions, Senor.
I could try fighting our way, but 2 against 6. Poor odds.
I am sorry, but I cannot help.
Oh, don't expect it, old chap.
Of course, Senor. I have a gun.
A bad place to start a shooting.
Yeah. I would warn you most strongly against that, my friend. There are many guns in this cafe.
Senor, we must hasten to do something. They're all coming towards us now.
Right. Better get the pipe out of my mouth.
Oh, what use is a pipe, Senor?
This is a rather unusual pipe, Angelo.
If you please, Senor Carson, this is not a moment in which to indulge in the delights of pipe collecting.
But the false bowl and screws, like so.
Senor, perhaps the gun?
No, this is more effective. See?
This strange object, Senor.
Smoke pellet.
Smoke pellet? No, I do not...
Watch what happens when I throw it on the floor. Here goes.
Why? The smoke! Great clouds of it!
We'll fight our way out through it, Angelo.
See, Senor.
Bye for now, Schmidt. See you night after next, I hope. Awkward situation. Touch and go for a minute or 2, despite the smoke. But we managed to touch 1 or 2 of the Rio thugs in the right manner, then scramble out. Felt like a reviver by the time I reached Sir Giles Davenport's Copacabana apartment.
Soda, Carson?
Water, thanks, Sir Giles. Enough, sir.
Good. Here.
Thanks, sir. Cheers.
All the best. Well, old chap, what are we to conclude from tonight?
Pipe's a man's best friend.
Pipe's a man's best... Oh, these weird pipes of yours, Carson.
Very handy at times. This one came from the Balkans. Quite effective.
But I seem to recall a pipe that was supposed to turn into a miniature pistol. It wasn't so very effective.
Oh, that, yeah. Checked it this morning. Hammer out of alignment. Thus the misfires. Now, for instance...
Good heavens, man, don't go fishing it out of your pocket.
No, I'm not going to start firing it here, Sir Giles.
I wouldn't put it past you, Carson.
Let it pass.
Let's have a fuller picture of what happened tonight.
Of course, sir. Well, Paquita Rifio, bless her heart, gave me the right information. This former husband of hers was there at Osatayo. A cellar, all right.
And he'd changed his feathers?
Sir. Beard, hair, both dyed black.
Why the disguise?
I wasn't able to go into that.
Oh.
Strange fellow. Seems to be brooding over something. Talked about his honor and self-respect. Said he'd already been approached by other agents for the same information.
Is that so, Carson?
Yes, Sir John.
And has he,
I think not. Even though he's down and out, he seems to be keeping this information to himself for some reason. Said if he passed it on, he'd lose the last fragment of his honor and self-respect.
Extraordinary fellow.
Seemed to have low opinion of secret agents.
A lot of people have, you know.
See what you mean, Sir Giles. Other secret agents.
Indeed. But go on.
Well, I told him I'd be putting this information to a good use. He'd heard that before. From an Englishman.
Englishman?
Sir.
That can mean only one thing, Carson.
I know. Englishman working for foreign power.
Most disturbing.
Trying to draw him out on who these other agents might be.
That would be exceedingly helpful to us, what with all these various snipes at you. But what did he say?
Said telling me would involve his honor again. Made little progress, I'm afraid. But I've a feeling he might come to terms after he's made up his mind about me. Best I could do was arrange to see him the night after next at a cafe a little further along the street from this cellar place.
Night after next? Anything could happen in the meantime.
So, especially if the last few days are any indication. Yes, but Schmidt certainly surprised me. Expected to find some fellow in his early 30s down on his luck, but otherwise not much else to him. Schmidt struck me as a man who suffered enormously. Something very tragic about him.
No hint what it is?
None, Sir Giles. Though we do know something of his past.
Yes. He flew those scientists out here, plunged into the gay life of Rio, married this fashion model, Senorita Rifio, blew his money, lost her, practically vanished.
So?
But I wonder how she knew we could find him at this old Satao place.
Been wondering myself. Like to know.
I'd like to know many things. Who's organizing this bunch of hoodlums, for instance? Who thought so highly of your interest in ancient weapons to send that loaded crossbow? And who doctored that cocktail up at your hotel suite?
Keep coming back to that, don't we?
Man, it's the one time that we seem to be faced with the suspects. 3 of them.
And what adorable suspects.
Yes. But beauty and dark deeds have often been known to go hand in hand, Carson.
True, Sir Giles.
Take Senorita Rifio, for instance. Well, she wasn't exactly clumsy when it came to extracting 25,000 cruzeros out of us.
But why should she want to drug us?
That's the dash point that keeps cropping up. Someone wanted to go through our pockets. But what about that note in your wallet? Sorry you couldn't oblige this time. Signed, one of the girls.
Someone's probably trying to find out our game. Perhaps whether we're British agents or not. Then why would Paquita want to know that?
You have me, Carson. But the other two, Mademoiselle Corelli and this Jansen woman, what do you know of their backgrounds?
What do I know of Fay Corelli? Oh, I imagine she's been dancing from the day she could walk. Seems to have been created for that. And men.
Yes. And Miss Jansen?
Helena Jansen. She's got that antique shop, Rua de Uvidor. She has poise, breeding. That's about all I know. But, sir, I have a couple of days to put in before I meet Carl Schmidt. What better way could I pass the time than by learning more about these two creatures?
Why not, Carson? Which one first?
Well, might as well combine business with pleasure, I suppose. I'll start with Fay Corelli. Call on her tomorrow at the El Rocco. Anyway, Sir Giles, cheers again. Drank with Sir Giles, thinking about Fay Corelli, then packed pipes and back to the hotel. But as things turned out next day, it wasn't Fay that I saw first. I received a phone call from Helena Jansen. She wanted to see me on an important matter, so I said I'd call in at her shop. It was strange how she kept cropping up.
I do hope I'm not taking up too much of your time, Mr. Carson.
Well, not at all. Tons to spare.
But you must be very busy.
Why, sir?
Didn't you fly out here on some important mission?
Important mission?
Meat importing, Mr. Carson?
Oh, that. Well, really, just routine business matter. Always take time off, especially for occasions like this, Miss Jansen.
You are fortunate. But to get to the point...
You've tracked down another crossbow or something?
I'm afraid not.
Huh?
No. Though it has something to do with one of your very flamboyant hobbies.
Ah, must be a pipe.
As it so happens, I have tracked down a pipe of Spanish origin that I think might interest you.
Always interested in adding to my collection.
But this is not about pipes.
Ah. Then it must be bird watching.
It is not bird watching.
Well, I seem to have run out of hobbies.
I was being sarcastic, I'm afraid, Mr. Carson.
Ah. Then why have you asked me to call?
I expect you remember me calling at your hotel suite several days ago.
You expect? You hurt me. How could I possibly forget?
Please, Mr. Carson.
Have I said something wrong?
I'm sorry, but that kind of flattery at times grates upon me.
Oh, then I'm sorry. But I do remember your calling.
Well, then, to get right to the point. I want you to know that it wasn't I who drugged your cocktail.
It wasn't?
I give you my word, Mr. Carson. And since you must be curious to know how I came to hear about it...
I am.
Your dancer friend called here yesterday.
Fakerelli?
Yes.
So that's the other hobby, eh?
I apologize, Mr. Carson.
Oh, yes, of course. Forget it.
I think I should explain. The mere sight of Mademoiselle Corelli infuriates me. I'm being frank with you.
Like it that way.
Well, I think I'm justified in being infuriated. When she comes in here and accuses me of trying to murder you.
It's that excitable French-Italian blood in her. Wouldn't take any notice of it.
I happen to be one of those people who rather object to being accused of murder. The whole suggestion is so ridiculous.
Even so, Miss Jensen. The cocktail was drugged.
Then what is it about you, Mr. Carson, that attracts attention of this sort?
Oh, these things happen, you know.
Perhaps you have other hobbies still.
I doubt whether I could find the time.
I dare say it is rather a full-time occupation with what you have on hand.
Meaning, Mademoiselle Corelli?
We're being sidetracked. To get back to the point, I did not drug your cocktail, Mr. Carson. I give you my word.
Miss Jensen, aren't you being a little anxious to tell me all this?
Surely, Mr. Carson. When I'm accused of trying to murder you, I'm entitled to be a little anxious. I have told you the truth. You may or may not accept my word, but I've given it to you.
Very well, Miss Jensen. I accept your word.
Thank you. Your cocktail must have been drugged by someone else.
Someone else? In that case, it was one of two people. Did I really accept Helena Jensen's word? If I did, it was either Fay or Paquita who was working against us. And as I was to learn when I met Carl Schmidt for the second time, we had someone working against us desperately in Operation Deathray.
Undercover Carson, secret agent. Operation Deathray, an assignment in Rio.
Puzzling woman, Helena Jensen. Willowy, blonde, cool, poised, outwardly brittle. Yet I couldn't help feeling that I had yet to meet the real Helena Jensen. There was something in her manner that made me feel she was speaking the truth when she said she hadn't drugged the cocktail at my hotel suite. That meant it was either the fashion model, Paquita Riffio, or the adorable French-Italian dancer, Fay Corelli. I had some time to put in before the vital rendezvous with the former flyer, Carl Schmidt, so I looked up Fay. Somehow we found ourselves spending the warm evening on a lonely parapet overlooking the Copacabana beach.
Ah, Monsieur Bruce, after dancing in all the smoke and noise of El Rocco, it is divine to be out here all alone with you.
Tired?
No. I have the desire to dance for you only. Perhaps in your pocket you have the pipe with the lovely little musical box attached?
Afraid not, Fay.
Oh, but you have the pipes with you, I know.
How so?
Monsieur Bruce, I feel them.
Oh, of course.
And they feel most interesting.
Not, I assure you. Just clumsy job picked up in Afghanistan.
I like to see it.
I'm sorry, not the sort of thing a nice young lady should handle.
You mean?
Besides, got something special to ask you.
I not answer. I not even listen.
It's about Helena Jensen.
That woman.
Thought you might.
Might what?
Answer.
Only because I loathe her.
Why so?
I tell you before, Monsieur Bruce, she is not warm and open like I am.
Maybe you're a little too open, Fay.
What do you mean?
She was telling me that you dropped into her shop yesterday.
And what of it?
Seemed upset that you should accuse her of putting drugs in the cocktail in my hotel suite.
It was her. She tried to murder you.
But why?
Because she missed out when she tried with that crossbow.
No, Fay, I really don't think it was Helena who did that. Or doctored the cocktail.
Then who? Me, perhaps?
Well, could be...
Me try to kill you? Oh, Monsieur Bruce. How ever are you able to say such a cruel thing?
Oh, now, come back here and sit down.
Never.
I was only joking.
How I know that?
I'm asking you to sit down again. Come on.
You sorry?
I'm sorry.
All right, then.
That's the girl.
Please, do not ever be cruel to me again. I try to be gay and laugh at life, but underneath it all, I am a very soft person.
Of course you are.
And I melt even more in your arms, Monsieur Bruce. You like me?
Well, can't say I'm revolted, my dear. Better now?
Much better. But you know what happened when I nestle close to you?
Well, your version first.
I steal out of your pocket the pipe, see?
Pipe? Faye, that pipe, Faye, it's...
Afghanistan, I know.
For heaven's sake, don't fiddle with it or you'll... Oh.
Monsieur Bruce, what happened?
Faye,
Your arm? What is that sticking into it?
Arrow.
Arrow?
So, that pipe, false stem, spring gun.
And I set it off. Oh, Monsieur Bruce. Oh, Monsieur Bruce, what have I done?
Not too much harm, I hope. Better find a doctor fast. Painful little diversion. But just a flesh wound, as it turned out. Had it dressed, the arrow restored to the pipe to an inner pocket. Faye was still greatly distressed when I sent her off home by taxi. Sir Giles Davenport was greatly disturbed when I told him all about it next day at his apartment.
These pipes of yours, Carson, are dash dangerous things.
Only in the wrong hands, Sir Giles.
But I'm thinking, old man, this might not have been as much an accident as you think.
Yeah? How so?
Well, to put it bluntly, this may have been Mademoiselle Corelli's opportunity to get rid of you.
No, nonsense, sir.
Don't forget, Carson, we have good cause to suspect her. They're a cocktail, you know.
Oh, couldn't suspect her, Sir Giles. Not after all the tears and apologies tonight.
Only got you in the arm. Perhaps she was bewailing the fact that it wasn't in the middle of the heart.
I find it almost impossible to suspect Faye. I'm sorry.
And you are more or less convinced that this Miss Helena Jensen is innocent of any conniving?
Hard not to accept her word. Of our 3 suspects, that leaves only the exotic Paquita.
Well, Carson, I doubt whether we'll ever know whether it was Senorita Rifio. Not from her lips, anyway.
How so, Sir Giles?
You remarked when first Angelo let you in that I seemed a little grave about something.
Yes, sir, I did.
You seem to be so anxious to tell me why you're wearing your arm in a sling that my news had to wait.
Well, I'm sorry, Sir Giles, but... What about Paquita?
I fear she's dead.
Dead?
Here's the newspaper, first edition. You read the local lingo, of course.
Yes. Oh, I see the paragraph. Yeah. Fiesta apartment building. House service. Found dead. Overdose. Great heavens.
It's a shock, all right, Carson.
Terrible. Creature like that destroying herself.
Did she, though?
Well, it says suicide.
But it also says that the police are anxious to question a certain Eric Seidel.
Oh, yes. Believed to have left Brazil overnight.
Yes. Suspicious, to say the least.
But it says death was caused by an overdose of sleeping tablets.
I can't help thinking, Carson, that this Seidel fellow had some very strong hold over the young woman.
He was her manager. She couldn't move without him. That's why she sold us the information about Carl Schmidt, to get enough money to break free of Seidel.
I fear I thought all along that her excuse there was a trifle thin.
Well, then what else could it be?
No idea, old man. But perhaps this Schmidt fella can enlighten us. You'll be able to meet him tonight as arranged, I hope.
Of course, Sir Giles, but Schmidt's a strange person. I wonder whether it'll change him, knowing that Paquita is dead. There was a pale lantern hanging outside the backstreet cafe. Wasn't much brighter inside. No sign of Carl Schmidt at first, so I waited, and I knew Sir Giles' servant, Angelo, was waiting and watching outside. A tense hour went by, and then Schmidt appeared, still disguised by the beard dyed black. He sat down heavily. He seemed deaf to my greeting. But when at last he did speak, he answered many things for me.
I have been thinking, Herr Carson. Forgive me.
It'll take time. All night yet?
No. Now I am anxious to talk. You will tell me this. Or was it that you discovered where to find me?
Well, from your former wife.
My late wife.
So you know she's dead?
I have read that she is dead, my friend, but I know that she was murdered.
How?
In what precise manner, I cannot tell. But you may take it as certain that it was arranged by Eric Seidel. He swore that she would die if ever she attempted to leave him.
But Seidel was only her manager.
Yeah. But in what business did he manage her? Can you answer that?
Fashion modeling. It wasn't, eh?
No, Herr Carson. It was a convenient disguise.
To what?
Peddling in drugs.
Drugs?
Yeah. In exchange for that service, he set her up in an apartment and with such clothing and jewelry as he desired. But very little in the way of money.
She wanted money to break free of him.
Yeah, she had no chance.
Poor girl.
And she had little chance to save any of that money.
How so?
I demanded every cruziro of her.
And how were you in a position to make such a demand?
I knew of this drug traffic in which she was engaged. And unless she paid me money with which to fumble my way through this underground world, then I would expose her.
I see.
But do you see the kind of person that I am, Herr Carson? Living off a woman who is living in fear, disguising myself. Because as a man called Carl Schmidt, I was guilty of many crimes. You are aware how I came to this part of the world?
Believe so. You flew out a number of European scientists in 1945. All men formally engaged on a secret project. A Deathray.
Yeah. And you know, perhaps, that I plunged into the gay life of the capital, married the beautiful Paquita, lived beyond my means, and so lost her?
So?
I am 33, Herr Carson. A young man, but old in vice and sadness. But you are not here to listen to this tale of self-pity. You seek information.
Get to the point, Schmidt. The names of the scientists that survived the crash landing. I'm prepared to buy it.
I've been offered many thousands of cruzeros many times. Yet I have kept this information to myself.
You explained why when we met first 2 nights ago.
I spoke as I believe and feel. It is the only way for me to preserve my honor, my self-respect. I have ruined my own life and others. And now this information in the wrong hands can cause frightening destruction throughout the world.
That's very true.
But you will put it to no such evil purpose, Herr Carson, no.
Assure you not.
They all say the same. But I admire you, my friend, for the manner in which you fought your way out of the cellar cafe when last we met. And you were waylaid.
Thank you.
But I desire to know what power or what country you represent.
Well, British.
I was hoping that.
Then we might come to terms?
Perhaps.
How much?
Do not offer me money.
Sorry, old chap, but I thought...
I have my honor.
Of course.
First, you will prove to me that you are a British agent, if you can.
Prove? Well, that can be done, dear sir, but not here. Howsoever, if you'd be good enough to come with me...
Oh, never mind.
But, old chap, I can prove it.
Yeah, but I am already convinced by your frankness. Guard this information well, my friend.
I shall, never fear.
There are 6 scientists, each of whom have some knowledge of this terrible weapon of war.
And their names?
Their names, Senor Carson? Their names...
Schmidt! Schmidt, what is it?
My back.
Back? Dart?
Yeah.
From a blowgun.
Poison, my friend. I know. Someone is determined that you shall not learn the names.
Schmidt, quick. The names. What are they? The names. One didn't need to have an expert knowledge of lethal weapons to realize that the unfortunate Carl Schmidt had only seconds to live. He was struggling to speak. Could he live long enough to give me those names so vital to the secret of Operation Deathray?
Undercover Carson, secret agent. Operation Deathray, an assignment in Rio.
Operation Deathray had started off with South American melody and swaying hips. But it was anything but light entertainment now. It was in a dim cafe in the Bohemian Leda area that I kept the appointment with Carl Schmidt, the former pilot. Seemed safe enough, but just to make sure, I had Angelo, Sir Giles Davenport's servant, stationed in the darkness outside. Schmidt knew the names of those 6 European scientists who had the various keys to the secret of the Deathray. He was about to talk, about to reveal those precious names, when he slumped forward across the table. In his back was a poisoned dart, and a man didn't need to be an expert on deadly weapons to know that someone had used a native blowgun, and that Schmidt's moments were numbered. The proprietor and others crowded around as I tried desperately to get Schmidt to speak.
Senor!
Schmidt, the names.
Senor, what is happening?
Stand aside. Schmidt.
Back! The dart!
So, blowgun, poisoned, dying.
Dying?
Murdered. But give me a chance, man. Schmidt.
Mama.
Mama?
Mama Rosa.
Mama Rosa?
Yeah.
That's one of the names?
Senor, this man.
Please, give me a chance, I say. Schmidt. Schmidt, old chap. Have I got that right? Mama Rosa. Schmidt. Schmidt.
He does not answer, Senor.
No. It's all over.
He is dead?
So, no point in me waiting. Sorry to leave him on your hands, my friend, but I...
One moment, Senor.
No fuss, old chap. I didn't kill him.
Perhaps not. But the authorities will be interested to ask you some questions.
Authorities?
Police.
Well, that'll never do.
I fear I must insist.
Calls for Angelo.
I do not follow, Senor.
In a moment, you'll find out. I say, Angelo.
You call for Angelo?
So, guardian angel. Angelo.
He does not hasten this guardian angel.
No. Odd. Most.
I fear you will be waiting, Senor. Already the word has gone out for the authorities to hasten here.
It seems I must hasten also.
You are taking that strange pipe from your mouth, Senor.
Yes, aim better with it in my hand.
You twist the bowl, Senor.
Arms it, you know.
Arms it?
So. Now, aim it.
What is this you are doing, Senor?
I doubt whether you'll be appreciating it, but I'm shooting out the lights. Like so.
Senor, stop!
Sorry, old chap. Here I come. Adios! The Turkish pipe had failed me once before, but not this time. Howsoever, I was wondering why the faithful Angelo had failed me. Called out for him again once I reached the street. No sound or sign. With the crowd from the cafe hot on my heels, I thought it unwise to linger. Half an hour later, I was up in Sir Giles Davenport's apartment, trying to cool down.
Is that enough water, Carson?
Plenty, Sir Giles.
Then quaff it, as the saying is.
I need little urging. All the best.
Good luck, old fella. So Angelo fell down on the job.
Yeah, it seems so.
You can depend upon it. There must have been some good reason.
I'm hoping he hasn't run into any serious trouble himself.
Carson, Trouble and Angelo are soulmates.
All the same. Where is he?
I dare say we'll find out all about that in due course.
Still, made it rather awkward for me. I can't say I thought it highly amusing at the time.
I was just thinking about that pipe.
Oh, this, the Turkish secret weapon.
Put it away, man. Great heavens, you've already got your arm in a mess because one of these fantastic pipes...
Oh, not so bad. Matter of fact, in all the flurry, I clean forgot about it. Only flesh wound.
Pity we can't say the same thing for this poor fellow Schmidt.
Yes, tragic case. No chance at all once a poisoned dart like that strikes home.
And he managed to get out only the one name?
So, Mama Rosa.
Mama Rosa.
Mean anything to you, sir?
Nothing, Carson.
Whoever was waiting behind that lattice work with the blowgun seemed determined no one should learn the names.
Perhaps the murderer or his principals already know the names.
You think so, Sir Giles?
I can't help feeling it, Carson. All along we've had unwelcome attention. So much so that I believe we have the agents of more than one other power on the job. I feel that you are being watched, just to see how much you're able to discover.
Could be.
And when you find out too much...
Yes, see what you mean, sir. Things will be even more, hectic.
But have we made any progress? That's the point. Mama Rosa.
Curious name.
Indeed.
Spanish? Portuguese? Italian, or what?
Could be anything. But remember, those 6 scientists were a mixed bunch.
Well, sir, what happens now?
I'll endeavor to follow up this name through some private channels.
Otherwise, we've come to another dead end.
Well, hardly, old chap.
How so?
Angelo. He should have something for us.
Can't help being worried about him.
Man, if I let myself become worried, Every time Angelo slept off unexpectedly, I'd be a nervous wreck. Yeah. What about another snort, old chap?
Oh, thank you, sir. No, enough, sir.
Huh? Oh, well, if you say so.
No, I'll fix the water.
Right. You know, Carson, you brighten up my life immensely.
Thought perhaps I may have disrupted your quiet existence here.
No. While I fully appreciate the deadly serious nature of your assignment, I feel rejuvenated now that I'm really bird watching again.
Invisible birds, though.
Yeah. Never fear. We'll lure them out into the open in due course. Anyway, it stops a man from stagnating. Go ahead. Drink it down.
Right. Cheers, sir.
Good luck. Hello.
Expecting a call?
I am indeed. Davenport?
Excellency?
Ah, as I thought, Angelo.
Si, Excellency. But Senor Carson...
Here, safe and sound, Angelo. Not a wave of his chestnut hair out of place.
Then I sigh with relief.
You've caused him some concern.
Indeed, Excellency, I'm exceedingly aware of that. Tender to him my most sincere apology.
I shall. But what's detained you?
Perhaps it is better that I wait until I arrive. You see, I have the weapon.
Weapon? You mean...
The blowgun that was used against the flyer. I can promise you, Excellency, that both yourself and Senor Carson will find it most interesting. In 15 minutes, I will be with you.
Sir Giles and I spent an impatient 15 minutes sipping our drinks and looking out on the lights of Rio. Was it into some dark backwater of this teeming city that the path of investigation would lead? Or was it out into the tangled wilderness of jungle and disease? Angelo arrived on time and proudly thrust the blowgun into my hands.
Well, Carson, you're an expert on these things.
Yeah, nothing uncommon about this weapon.
Not, eh?
Quite a number of tribes use them up country. Anyway, Angelo, how'd you come by it?
Senor, first permit me to make my apologies for leaving you as I did to fend for yourself.
It wasn't entirely on my own. Had pipe, you know.
But I caused myself much distress.
Forget about that. On with the story.
Oh, very well, Senor. As you're aware, I'm waiting in the darkness outside the cafe.
So?
It is some time before the flyer arrives. He walks heavily. One perceives that he is a man who carries a great load of sadness.
Yes, Angelo. As I was saying to Sir Giles, he was a tragic case.
He walks like a man who goes to his death. I have a feeling that some great peril awaits him. And then, Senor, I make an alarming discovery.
And that?
Already, before me, another person has arrived.
I see.
He's but a small shadow curled up close behind the lattice work that surrounds the side of the cafe.
Joe, Carson, he must have known about your rendezvous.
It seems so.
I keep a close watch upon him. All of a sudden, from within the cafe, there come the sound of many voices.
That was when Schmidt collected the poison dart, no doubt.
The shadow then rises and begins to make off. What am I to do? Pursue this strange one or remain to assist you, Senor Carson? To myself, I think that first I will inquire into the strange one and then return to you. The former undertaking was more lengthy than I had expected.
I see.
And you met up with this strange one?
See, after several blocks, Excellency, I grapple with him. So he abandons the blowgun and he hastens to escape.
What sort of fellow was he?
Oh, peon, Senor.
Did you get anything out of him?
Nothing but cries of terror.
And the blowgun.
Yes. The blowgun.
Well, Angelo, as you said over the phone, it's most interesting.
More interesting than you have yet perceived.
Oh? How so?
Permit me to grasp it again for a moment, Senor Carson.
Oh, certainly. Here, go ahead.
First, Senor, I would ask you to recollect a certain feminine acquaintance of yours in this city.
That could be one of many, Angelo. Carson's quite a lady killer.
The one who is of great fairness and great coldness.
Great fairness and great coldness? That could be only one person. Helena Jansen.
See, the one who conducts the shop for the selling of ancient wares.
Oh, that's right. Well, how does she come into it?
Senor Carson, being removed as I am only 2 generations from ancestors who were total savages, I have no great understanding of written words and their meanings. Least of all when they're written in a foreign tongue.
Oh, come, old chap. We all know that those jolly ancestors of yours like nothing better than a human rib bone. But what's all this leading up to?
Peer closely to where my finger now extends upon the side of this blowgun.
Huh? Oh, yes, it's a faint scribbling.
Scribbling, perhaps, but it has a meaning.
Great Lucifer.
Senor Carson at last perceived.
What the deuce is it, Carson? My eyes don't seem to be able to make out anything.
Sir Giles, the scroll says... Jensen. Rua de Ubidor.
Jensen? Her name on this blowgun?
I thought you would find it interesting, Excellency.
But this is the murder weapon.
So, and with Helena Jensen's name and address on it. Seems Fay Corelli's been right all along in suspecting her. So there it was. We were still in the dark about the names of the scientists, but it seemed we had another vital name. The name of a person who wasn't afraid to murder in order to snatch the deadly prize of Operation Deathray.
Undercover Carson, secret agent. Operation Deathray, an assignment in Rio.
The long-sought Carl Schmidt, the former flyer who'd brought the scientists out to South America, was now dead. Dead from the poisonous dart of a blowgun. Killed just as he was about to reveal to me the names of those scientists. One name had fallen from his dying lips. Mama Rosa. But it meant nothing to me, nor to my Rio contact, Sir Giles Davenport. It seemed that other agents were successfully hindering us. But then came the clue that told us who one of these agents might be. Angelo, Sir Giles' swarthy servant, had managed to get hold of the blowgun used against Schmidt. Faintly scrawled on it were several vital words.
Yes, Carson, I see it now. Jensen, Rua de Ubidor.
That's right, Sir Giles. Helena Jensen.
Well, she's been a suspect all along.
So, perhaps Fay Corelli was right.
Now, how do you mean, old chap?
Well, the alluring Fay has been telling me not to trust the fair Helena.
The way I feel now, Carson, I wouldn't trust any of these delightful lady friends of yours. But this would appear to pin the guilt on Miss Jensen.
Still hard to imagine.
Oh, good heavens, man, you are a trusting soul.
Seems I'm not cut out for this undercover business.
Well, Carson, whether you are or not, the fact is that we are groping.
Somewhat, anyway.
Though we've two leads to follow. First, the one name that Carl Schmidt, poor fella, managed to tell you.
So, Mama Rosa.
Odd name.
Most.
And we've also got Angelo on the job. Strangely enough, it seemed to touch off a glimmer of something in the dear fellow's dark mind.
Let's hope it means something. Just one name, and we may touch off a chain reaction, to borrow an atomic term.
Indeed, Carson, indeed. We must lay our hands on this secret weapon before anyone else. But what about this foul object here?
A blowgun?
Yes, old chap.
Easy to see, Sir Giles, that you don't share my interest in ancient weapons.
There's a lot of things I don't share with you, Carson. Neither an interest in weapons nor lethal pipes. Bird watching is the only hobby common to both of us.
And what an intriguing bird we have to watch.
How do you mean?
Helena Jensen.
Oh, of course, yes.
It's still hard to imagine her in the role of a murderess. Last time I spoke to her, there was something disarmingly frank in her manner.
A very handy trait for someone in her position to have.
Realize that. Still hard.
That soft spot of yours again, Carson?
Perhaps so. Howsoever, if I were to try shock tactics, it might throw her off her balance.
Shock tactics, Carson?
Present her with this.
Oh, I get it, yes. The blowpipe.
So?
Well... Hello. Surely Angelo hasn't struck oil so soon. We'll find out. Hello?
Am I through to the apartment of Sir Giles Davenport?
Yes, I do believe you are.
Is it possible that Monsieur Bruce Carson is there?
Carson?
For me?
Yes, a woman, a voice familiar.
Oh, fake really.
Oh, yes, the dancer.
Please, are you there?
Right here. Hold on a split second, my dear. Here, old chap, you take over.
Right. That's you, Faye?
Oh, Monsieur Bruce, I am so happy to find you.
What's the trouble?
I must warn you.
Warn me? How's that?
Wherever you are, take great care. Most especially of all, do not come to El Rocco.
Why? Your dancing act not up to its usual divine standard?
Monsieur Bruce, this is not what you call a joke. I am ghastly serious.
All right. What are you warning me about?
All I can say is this. In a corner of El Rocco tonight, I overhear some men speaking about you.
Men? What sort?
The loud dressers.
Local dandies?
Oui, the same type. They plan trouble for you.
Any details of that?
No, I cannot hear. I pretend to be getting ready for my dance. Oh, but I must go. In a few minutes I appear again.
Well, maybe I should drop down and see you.
No. I would be so distressed that I would not be able to dance for fear for you.
Oh, but when am I going to see you?
I will get in touch with you tomorrow.
I'll be waiting. Rapturously.
Oh, you are so sweet, Monsieur Bruce. But take great care. Goodbye.
You hear all that, Sir Giles?
I did.
Lovely creature.
Well, I hate to appear cynical.
What cause for that?
Distrust these lady friends of yours, Carson. It is strange how Mademoiselle Corelli pops up.
I find it rather enchanting.
Don't think me an old stick in the mud, but take care.
Oh, never fear, Sir Giles. While Angelo's trying to get something on Mama Rosa, I'll attend to Miss Helena Jansen. Still nothing on that vital word the following day. So I wrapped up the blowgun and set out for Helena Jansen's shop in Rua de Ubidor, edged through the jostling crowd on the pavement, and then into the sophisticated quiet of the shop. I waited a few minutes while Helena disposed of a customer. She came over to me as cool and self-assured as usual. She had a very graceful walk.
So sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Carson.
No, not at all. Always plenty to see here. Very fine collection.
Thank you. It's about the pipe, I take it.
Pipe?
That Spanish pipe I mentioned last time you called in.
Oh, that. No.
Then what, Mr. Carson?
Well, something to show you. All right to unwrap it on this table?
Quite all right.
Good.
A blowgun.
So, Miss Jensen, the whispering death of the primitive jungle.
And why bring it here, Mr. Carson?
I'm rather curious about the faint scribble on it.
Where? Oh, how very interesting.
Yes, 'tis rather.
This is the blowgun that was stolen from here some time ago.
Stolen, eh?
Yes, stolen.
You, told the police, I suppose?
As it happened, I did not.
Odd.
Very odd, Mr. Carson, finding you with it.
Collector of ancient and lethal weapons, you know.
Then what are you doing here with it?
Curious about the name, that's all. As I said before.
I told you the blowgun was stolen. I rather perceive that you doubt my word.
Perish the thought.
Then all I can do is to thank you for returning my stolen property. That is why you've brought it here.
Well, dare say it is, now that it's turned out to be yours.
Very kind of you, Mr. Carson. I'm rather pleased to have it back.
Thought you might be.
Mr. Carson, you speak as if there might be something more to this than you're letting on.
Oh, no. Leave it with you. Get in touch when that Spanish pipe turns up.
You can depend upon that, Mr. Carson.
Anything wrong?
I have another customer.
Huh? Oh, yes. Say, old chap, don't I know you?
Not Bruce Carson.
That's me.
For Roger Deauville.
Roger Claudius Deauville, if I remember our school days rightly.
I'm trying to live the Claudius down, old boy. But what are you doing in this part of the world?
Oh, out here on a routine job with the British meat importing crowd I'm with.
Oh, yes, your pater was a big noise in something like that.
So?
Still the old staccato Carson, eh? But fancy striking you here, of all places.
Oh, still keen on ancient and lethal weapons, you know. Been here on a small, allied matter. Oh, you know Miss Jansen?
No, Carson, I don't.
Miss Helena Jansen, may I present Roger Deauville? I'll spare you the Claudius.
Very pleased to meet you, Miss Jansen.
How do you do?
Well, dare say you've something you want here, Roger.
Actually, I'm just browsing. Looking for a few knickknacks for a place I have out of town.
Oh, you're living here?
Have been for some time now. But this calls for a drink, Carson. You'll pardon me for rushing him off, Miss Jansen.
Not at all.
I'll drop in some other time. Very pleased to meet you, Miss Jansen. Now, Carson, let's be off. I know just the place.
I'm rather sensitive to such things, otherwise I'd hardly have been on undercover work. And the thing that struck me was that Helena Jansen and Roger Deauville did know each other. I was more than interested to have a drink with this fellow. He was in some travel agency, moved all over the Americas. I was doubly interested when he skillfully tried to pump me. Sir Giles still hadn't anything to report, so I fell in with Deauville's suggestion.
You got through to the company?
Only just. We've been yarning for a long time, Roger. Office is nearly vacated.
Yes, we've made a day of it, all right. Well, how about the other half?
How so?
Evening at my place, out of town. I'll get some friends to drop over. Or have you any other plans?
No, only two, please.
Good show. We'll have another couple, then push on.
Whatever you say.
I've got the car parked around the corner. I didn't leave the tail lights on, but it'll be all right. Anyway, bungo.
Must be some money in this travel business.
What makes you say that?
This car.
Well, it's not a bad job. I prefer the English jobs. And speaking of them, that was a pretty smooth one this afternoon, eh?
I don't think I follow.
Miss Jansen.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
Doing a line there, Carson?
No. Only business.
Well, there's an occasion when any man should combine business with pleasure. Very rare.
Strange you don't know her, Roger.
Oh, why should I?
Oh, in and out of Rio, as you are? Attractive English girl like that?
Well, Rio's a big place, Carson. Plenty of attractive girls, all nationalities. But wait till I get some of the crowd over tonight. I'll bet they stirred a low whistle or two out of the old staccato Carson. Anyway, we're getting out of town now. I'll step her up.
I fear not.
Carson, did you?
No. The words are spoken from the back. Do not look round, either of you.
Carson, what's the meaning of this?
About to ask you, old chap. After all, your car.
Indeed, it is the senor's car, but both of you English gentlemen are required at a certain destination for questioning. You will take the next turning on the left, if you please.
What does a fellow do in a situation like this?
Why ask me, old chap?
Allow me to provide the answer. Do as I say, implicitly. And be well assured, the guns that you feel at the back of your necks are not unloaded.
Someone had been riding silently in the back of the big car for 5 or 6 miles. The guns nudged at our necks. Deauville swung the car around to the left, and so began one of the less entertaining interludes in Operation Deathray.
Undercover Carson, secret agent. Operation Deathray, an assignment in Rio.
That could lead us to our scientists and their secret. Mama Rosa, the last word uttered by the dying Carl Schmidt. Angelo, Sir Giles Davenport's swarthy servant, was already on the job there. Meanwhile, other investigation took me back to Helena Jansen's antique shop. There I bumped into Roger Deauville, once a fellow school chum in England. We went out to celebrate old times, then decided to go on to his place, some distance out of Rio. We were going along merrily when we discovered we had an unknown passenger in the back seat. In a thick voice, this stranger insisted that we should drive off the main road somewhere for questioning. He applied pressure, the cold, hard nose of guns in our necks. Reluctantly, we complied.
My apologies for the crude state of this track, Senor. But our destination is a place that is most out of the way.
So it seems.
It is desired that this be a most private affair. To the left, Senor Deauville.
Have we met, my good fellow?
Not up until now. Though yourself and Senor Carson, being gentlemen who command attention in any society, are not totally unknown to me. However, it is because I desire to know so much more that I have commandeered you in this fashion.
Must have been a trifle awkward crouching down in the back seat, as it were.
Ah, Senor, I am accustomed to situations that are awkward.
Now listen, whoever you might be, what more is there to know about me? I just happen to be an Englishman who's fallen in love with the place, and I'm quite happy running a travel agency with Rio as my headquarters.
And Senor Carson is the representative of a British meat importing firm.
Apart from his vaunted hobbies, yes.
Quite so.
I am aware that he is interested in the collecting of strange pipes and also ancient weapons.
And bird watching. Had the bug when we were at school together.
Indeed. But what manner of birds does he now watch?
I'm afraid I don't follow.
Nor I, for that matter. Really, old chap, this is rather thick.
To we who are curious, the situation is also thick, as you say. Thick because there are so many things that we cannot perceive. But by your answers to our questions, that will be remedied.
Our questions? Who else is in on this?
You will learn that in good time, Senor Deauville. For the present, confine your attention to the driving. We are approaching the end of the track.
Oh, yes. Well, there's a building or something there.
It is here that your accommodation has been arranged. The headlamps show up the door. Bring the car to a stop beside it.
I'm blowed if I will. I've had about enough of this ordering around from some foul-breathed Rio thug.
You will obey my instructions, Senor.
Carson!
Best do as he says, old chap. Back seat's the box seat.
Well, he may be in the box seat at the moment, but you're all right. Right beside the door. Good enough for you.
Excellent. That makes it so much more easy for me to escort you to your accommodation.
The place is in darkness.
And I fear that you will both be obliged to wait here in darkness.
Wait here?
Indeed. Until the others who are interested in the questioning make their arrival. I am to see that you are accommodated and then proceed to inform them.
Proceed where?
Senor, you have not been brought here to ask questions. It is the other way around. You will leave the headlamps of your motor car turned on for the moment. Then you will step outside. Remember, Signori, I have a gun in each hand.
If there's going to be any questioning, we'll do it right here.
Senor.
Come on, Roger. This isn't fun and games in the old school study hall. Let's get out.
Well, I suppose I'll have to. But what is this place?
A watch house, Senor. All that remains of an ancient estate. And be assured, it still well serves the